We're back on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. We're sorry we left, but technical difficulties are about to happen. We almost made it through the entire year without having a major technical difficulty. I guess you can call it that. Brad Klein alongside Will Connerly. Bottom of the first inning. If you're not here at the Red, I know some fans like to listen to us when they're at the ballpark, but if you're not here at the Red, here's what you missed. Adam Meyer with back-to-back strikeouts to start the game, and then a weak ground out by Luke Mann to retire the side 1-2-3. Now it's Adrian Saravo's turn. The big righty at 6'4", 248 pounds, a starter for Hyannis from Weatherford College in Texas. 3.17 ERA in 2021, but in the CCBL a 2.91 ERA. Good for All-Star honors, the second straight night that the Red Sox are going up against an All-Star from the Cape Cod League. And Wyatt Hoffman leading off, no score in the bottom frame. Adrian Saravo with the flow over the hand delivery is fouled back into the mitt of the catcher Joey Raphael, strike one to Wyatt Hoffman. Another Cape All-Star. These two teams didn't play each other, though. In the All-Star game, there was no All-Star game to be played. With the COVID-19, especially the Delta variant, the pandemic, there were All-Stars announced, but no need to play the actual game, as Wyatt Hoffman observes the changeup high. 2 balls and 1 strike. The University of the Pacific second baseman has been a godsend for Y-D all year. Big swing and a miss, 2-2. Now behind Saravo in the infield, left to right, third baseman Luke Mann, Kyle Ball at short, Trent Taylor playing second, and Nick Romero at first. The battery mate for Saravo is Joey Raphael. 2 balls and 2 strikes with no outs to the leadoff man Wyatt Hoffman. And the pitch swung on and missed, strike 3. Just as Meyer does, Adrian Saravo starts off the leadoff man with a strikeout, 1 away in the bottom of the first.
Yeah, Saravo has good stuff. He's pitched the ball very well so far this year. He has a fastball, slider, and changeup, but he's able to get that fastball up and in on right-handers. Being 6'4" and 250, he has a really big presence on the mound, and he's gotten a ton of starts this summer. He's gotten a really good experience working hard this summer on the mound. His last 2 starts came against Orleans.
And he's won his last 2 starts as well after going 0-4 in his first 4 outings. But the starts have largely been good. Actually, Hyannis got the dub in his last outing when he wasn't as strong as he typically is. His last start gave up 4 runs, 4 innings against the Firebirds on the 25th. He hadn't given up more than a run in his previous 5 starts. 1 ball and 1 strike to Tanner Smith, the reverse split lefty from Oregon. Fastball grounded up the middle into center field, a base hit.
Tanner Smith.
A 1-out single for Tanner Smith, and Y-D has a base runner in the bottom of the first for Brooks Lee.
Yeah, Brad, Tanner Smith, he just continues to produce atop this order for Y-D. Had a big game last night, going 2 for 5 with the home run and 3 runs driven in. He has 7 runs driven in over the past 3 games, 18 RBI to lead the team. And now on a 6-game hitting streak, his second 6-game hitting streak of the year. And it was interesting, Brad, yesterday in the first inning when he hit the home run, second batter of the game, he said it was actually a hit and run, but the ball went out of the ballpark, and he can't complain about that.
And on contact, impulsively, he was upset because you lift a ball and a hit and run, it could be a problem, maybe even a double play. And at the very almost best case scenario, assuming the ball is going to be caught, which he thought it would in the air, then you're just going to retire and out, and the runner's going back to first base. Mission failed. 1 ball, no strikes to Brooks Lee, fouled back. Switch hitter from the left side now, Cal Poly, future first-rounder according to a lot of projections. And that's a guy who a lot of Y-D fans thought would propel them to the CCBL playoffs. But like we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, The Red Sox on the precipice of being eliminated mathematically. One loss today, one Harwich win today would do the trick. 1-1, 1 out. Infield at double play depth, and Brooks Lee takes the high changeup. A bobbled throw by Joey Raphael forced no throw on the transfer, and Tanner Smith scurries back to first again. No throw, no hurry.
And Saravo listed at 6'4", 250 on the roster for Cape, but at Weatherford College he was listed at 6'4", 215 pounds. You wonder if he put on some weight, which could have helped his durability. He already threw 76 and 2/3 innings this past spring season, and he's thrown 24 and 2/3 already this summer, starting in his 7th game. So that right arm has got a lot of work this season. I know a lot of starting pitchers have innings limits.
Here's Brooks Lee, fastball driven center field base hit. Tanner Smith round second. He's going to third, standing up. A one-out single, back-to-back one-out singles, put runners on the corners for Dominic Keegan.
That .411 batting average for Brooks Lee just continues to rise. Just had his casual day at the office yesterday with 3 hits and another knock here in the first, and now it's Dominic Keegan's turn to see what he can do. But we've seen him square the ball up multiple times this summer, has just some great power and an opportunity for Y-D to take the lead now.
And with Tanner Smith's speed, nothing that Clark Elliott, the center fielder, could do to keep him off of third base. Next to him in the outfield, Dominic Johnson playing right and Mitch Hardigan in left field. The infield pinched in a little bit, less than halfway. Dominic Keegan showing bunt and pulls back. Well, likely a decoy, but the changeup settled into the zone, so it works as a strike to Keegan, who has the best home run rate in the CCBL. Didn't really expect to see him even think about a bunt. We'll see if it's on here. Lee on first, Smith on third. Keegan not bunting, not swinging either on the fastball outside. Count even at 1-1.
Yeah, Dominic Keegan going to think about dropping one down. Interesting. Who has 5 home runs through his first 12 games, playing in his 13th now with Y-D, but we'll see what happens here.
Saravo comes set, and the pitch is swung on and driven to center field. That's going to fall for a base hit. Tanner Smith comes around to score. Lee advances to second, and Y-D is up 1-0 in the bottom of the first.
Yeah, Dominic Keegan, laser to center field. No need to bunt when he can hit the ball on the screws like that. And it's just so interesting to marvel at Brooks Lee and Dominic Keegan hitting back-to-back. One of the hardest things to do in sports is square up a round object with a round bat and try to hit it square. And Keegan and Brooks Lee have done that this inning. They've done it all season for Y-D, and Tanner Smith coming around to score.
So here's Chase Luttrell, the lefty from Long Beach State. Fastball outside, ball 1. By the way, we're expecting to have Eric Valenzuela, Luttrell's college coach from Long Beach State, coming on the broadcast about the 4th inning, so stay tuned. To the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Lee on second, Keegan on first. 2 parts of the back-to-back-to-back singles that Y-D has pieced together. Luttrell trying to get in on the action, but really nothing to offer here for Adrian Saravo. 2 fastballs nowhere near the plate. 2 balls, no strikes. And Joey Raphael out to have a word.
Yeah, and Saravo, of course, getting a bulk of the work on the mound this summer. Been a consistent starter, but he's been really good so far this year. Through 7 starts, if you can have a sub-3 ERA, you're throwing the ball effectively. Making his 7th start right now, but Y-D able to get to him. Only 1 time this year in his previous 6 starts, he's allowed more than a run, and that came in his most recent appearance against Orleans.
And the 2-0 to Luttrell, outside and high, ball 3 again on the fastball. And you're right, Saravo has been really good, but already 3 hits and a run allowed in the bottom of the first inning through just a third of an inning. And the one area he's been a little bit vulnerable are the base knocks, right? So as a whole, he's given up 25 hits and has gone through 25 innings pitched. Luttrell fouls it back to the screen, free swinging on 3-0.
Yeah, before his last start, opponents were just hitting about 200 off him, but coming into this game, it was a 237 clip after letting up 7 hits against Orleans. But he's somebody who was one of the top high school players, but the 2020 draft got shortened and then took his talents to the collegiate level, was expecting to get picked. Now trying to showcase his talents here on the Cape.
Here's the 3-1 to Luttrell. Popped up, left side of the infield, maybe foul ground. It drifts towards the third base line, and Saravo makes the catch with the gust of wind left to right. Now the third baseman, Luke Mann, looked like he was going to set up shop in foul territory, and maybe rightfully so. The breeze took it basically at its apex and wiped it a few feet to the right. Saravo tried to get out of the way, and then he realized, hey, I'm actually in the right spot. Let me get this one. So 2 away on the 3-1 pop-out for Chase Luttrell to the pitcher, and Cody Huff, his roommate, at the dish with runners on first and second. The Red Sox already lead 1-0 in the bottom of the first, and Cody Huff takes the breaking ball in the dirt.
And we look at so many players in this league coming from big schools, like the guy at the plate, Cody Huff from Stanford, but Saravo coming from a junior college, but making the All-Star team, it's a big accomplishment. He was the only player from a 2-year college selected to the Cape Cod All-Star team.
The 1-0, big swing and a miss by Huff. And you mentioned before that Saravo had some options coming out of high school and was hoping to get drafted. Forwent his offer to UConn, and there are so many different variables that go into that, but you have to wonder, UConn's a good program that has produced a lot of really good players in this league. You have to wonder where his trajectory would have been had he been a Husky. Taken in the dirt on the 1-1, and a nice scoop by Raphael. 2 balls and 1 strike, and the honest answer, the honest thing that I can offer here is he made it to the Cape without the benefit of UConn and the exposure of UConn, and that's very impressive, and even more so, he's taken advantage of his reps on the Cape.
And when you go to junior college, you can get drafted quicker. We wouldn't be talking about him in the draft at UConn. He wouldn't even have been eligible. But out of a junior college, you're eligible at any point after your freshman year or your sophomore year. But coming off a true freshman campaign, was going to go to UConn, was thinking he was going to get drafted, was one of the top players in the area. When the draft dwindled down to just 5 rounds, his options were only at the junior college level, but he still performed at a high level. Speaking of limiting hits and hits, he even threw a no-hitter this past year at the collegiate level. Had a very successful season at Weatherford College.
Here's the 2-2 to Huff. Outside on the slider, not even close. So there have been a couple of pitches, especially those breaking balls, that Saravo just loses out of the hand, and are easy takes for Cody Huff. Chase Luttrell in his last at-bat. So now the merry-go-round will be in motion. Brooks Lee on second, Dominic Keegan a healthy lead on first base, with Nick Romero, the first baseman, playing behind him. They'll have head starts. And the payoff pitch to Huff is clocked to deep left field. Forget about it. That one is gone. Cody Huff, a big-time home run, the second of the year. And Y-D is all over Hyannis. A 3-run shot propels them to a 4-0 lead in the bottom of the first.
Cody Huff put a jolt into that baseball, and he drives in 3 runs on the swing. His 9th, 10th, and 11th RBIs of the season. His second home run, as you mentioned, in his second consecutive game with a hit after he was slumping a little bit. Now he has hits in 3 of the past 4 games, and he has runs driven in over the past 2 games as well. Huge swing right there from Cody Huff.
So now it's Drew Bowser's turn, and Saravo steps off. He's a little bit shaken. 4-0, the Red Sox lead. 4 hits in the past 5 batters, with Chase Luttrell being the only exception. Bowser takes the fastball on the outside corner, didn't think so, and asks the home plate umpire for confirmation. So 3 consecutive singles. Tanner Smith, Brooks Lee, and Dominic Keegan set the table for the long ball by Cody Huff. Big-time home run with a late apex, a moon ball. Count even at 1-1 to Drew Bowser. And just as importantly is Y-D's 4-0 lead, a 1-0 deficit for the Mariners in the bottom of the third. Brewster on top. Again, a Harwich win or a Y-D loss mathematically eliminates the Red Sox from contention. And the 1-2 to Bowser. Swung on, jammed him. Bowser goes down swinging for out number 3, but 4 hits for the Red Sox. No one left on, and a whopping 4 runs in the bottom of the first. Y-D is all over Hyannis at the end of 1, right here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Now, don't look now, but Y-D already up 4-0 at the end of 1 here in the top of the second inning. Nick Romero, the first baseman from UCF, leading off against Adam Meyer. Will Connerly with me. I'm Brad Klein on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. 4-0 Y-D leads, and Adam Meyer gifted that 4-run cushion after he worked 1-2-3 in the first inning. 2 strikeouts as well. And a ground ball slowly hit up the middle into center field. A leadoff single for Nick Romero.
And it's just a great cushion that Adam Meyer has right now. And he wants to throw the ball in this strike zone, work his pitches. And this is an opportunity for Meyer. And Brad, as you know, we've seen his way that he's worked each day. Coming to work, working on his pitches. He's been working on implementing a few new pitches into his repertoire. Now with a 4-0 lead, you wonder, okay, that slider's his bread and butter, but how can he work in probably his last start some of those new pitches and get a good feel for some of the things that he's trying to do this season and couple that into the rest of his collegiate career?
Fastball in the dirt. Well, there are a couple of pitches that he's really trying to hone on his craft and really perfect. One of them, the changeup. He was getting a couple of tips from Trevor Hoffman, and the funny thing is the changeup has been one of his best pitches, but when a Hall of Famer offers you some help and advice, you don't say, no, that was a wicked slider taken just inside and low for ball 2, but had a lot of break on it to Kyle Ball, the shortstop from Stetson, on a 13-game hit streak. So the changeup getting some help from Trevor Hoffman there. Then the cutter, as that cutter was chopped foul left side and towards the Y-D dugout. But he really wants to focus on getting a cutter that's going to keep the hitter honest, especially when it relates to his fastball. Because we've seen the fastball be a little bit vulnerable, especially if he's not having a high velo day. As he checks back at the runner and gets him going. Nick Romero, a sitting duck, leaning towards second. Meyer hadn't even gotten onto the rubber yet. Glanced back and realized, hey, that guy is way too far off the base. Romero picked off, 1 away in the top of the second.
Wow. I mean, Adam Meyer able to get guys off the base paths, doing what he does best.
There's a fastball just high. 3 balls and 1 strike to Kyle Ball. So Meyer has still faced the minimum despite the leadoff single. And the 3-1. Grounded slowly over to Lee. Charging in. On the run, the throw is in time. A perfect strike to Drew Bowser at first base for the second out. Now that's a great swing for Adam Meyer. Just a second ago, he was behind in the count to Kyle Ball on a 13-game hit streak with a runner on first base after a leadoff single. Now, 2 pitches later, 2 outs, no one on.
Yeah, I know we look at the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, and they're at the bottom of the league in terms of points, but they've got some guys swinging the bat well right now. Clark Elliott, of course, Kyle Ball with the 13-game hit streak. Luke Mann has had 5 straight multi-hit games and has hits in 8 of his past 9, so there's still a lot of talent in this lineup.
Mitch Hardigan with a missile to Hoffman. He bobbles it. He throws it not nearly in time. Mitch Hardigan, the Florida Atlantic Owl, can fly down the first base line, and Wyatt Hoffman just got munched up on that ground ball.
Yeah, it was hit really hard. Wyatt Hoffman did a good job keeping it in front of him and then had to go with the bare hand on the dirt. But it's not in time. As you mentioned, Hardigan running well down the line in that instance, and he had to try to extend the inning.
Brings up Trent Taylor, the second baseman, hitting .235 on the year. Adam Meyer threw an inning and 2/3 with a solid 20 pitches. Just one more than the minimum after the error. Mitch Hardigan received a free base on. There's a slider and a big duck by Trent Taylor, but a perfect strike from Meyer. And that just shows you how good Meyer's slider could be. Trent Taylor reluctant to get back in the box. No balls and 1 strike to Trent. With 2 outs, he shows bunt and pulls back, taken low. And that's just one of those pitches that if you're Adam Meyer, if you had to show 1 pitch to add to the reel, it's probably that one.
Yeah, Adam Meyer, I mean, the slider that he can throw, he knows it's one of his best pitches. He goes to it a lot. And expect a lot of the same today on the mound.
Chopper slowly hit right side. Third base line, bare hand Lou. On to first, not even close. Trent Taylor busting it down the first base line. An infield single, the second hit of the day for Hyannis. Puts runners on first and second with Hardigan scrambling over to second. 2 outs for Joey Raphael.
And Brad, the business of baseball, when a coach makes a lineup, he looks at what a player did recently. I know it's something that
the what have you done for me lately?
What have you done for me lately? Nature of baseball. The Hyannis Harbor Hawks have done a lot lately. They're hitting .307 as a team over the past 5 games. They've really swung the bat well, but they've only won 2 of their last 5 games. And they've only had 4 wins in the past 10 games. But over the past 10 games, they're hitting nearly .300 as a team. They started the year off terrible, and they're still at bottom of the division, but they're swinging the bat really well over the last week and a half when they've started to pick up a few more victories.
1-0 to Raphael. He pulls out the 9-iron, goes golfing on the low fastball, but a big whiff like my golf game. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Runners on first and second in the top of the second. Career 105 hitter as a collegiate swinger, and swings foul off the thigh of Dominic Keegan. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. But that 105 average factors in his summer ball and his NCAA stats.
Yeah, it's played at the NCAA Division II level.
Started at Nova Southeastern, transferred to Florida Southern. Both D2 schools, but he's 6 for 57 as a collegiate hitter. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Joey Raphael from Florida Southern now. And the pitch, slider way outside, but a great backhanded stop by Dominic Keegan. That's a very impressive stop right by Keegan, considering he probably hasn't seen much of Meyer's stuff, so much so where he's able to feel comfortable backhanding the breaking ball in the dirt like that.
Yeah, an impressive play by Keegan right there, and trying to get comfortable with Meyer's stuff, but also just get comfortable being a catcher, because that's what he's going to be next year at Vanderbilt, and that's what he kind of projects as at the next level, And if you can be a catcher and swing the bat the way Keegan does, that improves your stock so much. And he is a really solid catcher and just trying to get back into the swing of things when, after his injury, played a lot of first base. But getting comfortable being the everyday catcher, not everyday per se in this sense with switching with Cody Huff, but being comfortable behind the plate, it's a crucial role handling a pitching staff on the mound.
Still 2 balls and 2 strikes to Joey Raphael. And the pitch outside, ball 3. So we thought today was going to be the day of the strikeout. The first 2 Hyannis Harbor Hawks striking out, and after the 19K performance that the Harbor Hawks put together as a squad when Y-D visited them, it looked like they were destined for more. Only 2 for Meyer. And it stays that way. Ball 4 on the payoff pitch loads the bases for the 9-hitter Caden Rose. Mitch Hardigan on third base. He reached on an error. An infield single put Trent Taylor on base. He's on second. And the walk by Joey Raphael. And that is an eye roll of an inning for Adam Meyer trying to bail himself out. Caden Rose, the DH from Alabama. Fastball high.
And he started a lot at Alabama this past season. 42 starts, but just hit 190. And this is just his 4th at-bat here right now over the past 10 games. Hasn't got a ton of action recently for Hyannis.
The 1-0 popped up, foul ground. Adam Meyer directing traffic for Lou, the third baseman. He gives the look out of play to the second row. So a ball and 2 strikes with the bases still loaded to Caden Rose, hitting 195 on the year with 6 RBIs and a homer. Adam Meyer working from the stretch, gets the sign from Keegan. And the pitch. Slider nearly decapitates Rose. He bails and scurries up the third base line just to make sure he's out of reach of that wicked slider.
Yeah, heads up right there. This wicked slider wasn't too wicked on that pitch, as it seemed as though it slipped out of his hand, and could be a release point issue, could be just not getting on top of it. And Coach Vasella saw that immediately after that miss from Adam Meyer. He ran out there to kind of talk with Adam Meyer about the situation going on the mound. And the interesting thing about Meyer is this summer he has performed at a high level, shown great stuff. It's crazy how he has 4 years of eligibility still left at the collegiate level, and he's getting so much interest from pro and college scouts with the way he has pitched here this summer.
Coming from the NAIA, British Columbia product. Here against Caden Rose. From the stretch, the pitch swung on and missed for strike 2.
Yeah, hard fastball hitting his spot, and Rose was tardy. You wonder if he goes back to it after losing grip of the slider on the pitch before.
Hardigan on third, Taylor on second, Raphael on first. And the pitch grounded slowly over to short. Lee flips it over to second in time, side retired. No runs, 2 hits, and 3 left on. In the middle of the second, the Red Sox lead 4-0 right here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Briley Knight leading off the bottom of the second inning on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network, and Y-D up 4-0 already, getting 4 in the first on Adrian Saravo, the CCBL All-Star, who struggled early on. The Red Sox got 4 hits in that frame, 3 singles and a long ball by Cody Huff, and Briley Knight swinging for the first time today. The Portland Pilot launches the fastball in the dirt and outside. Hitting 142 on the season. And Briley Knight swings, cracks it into right field, a base hit. Through the hole between Nick Romero, the first baseman, Trent Taylor at second. A leadoff single for Briley Knight.
Good piece of hitting by Knight right there to drive it over to the right side. And Briley Knight, after going hitless over the last 2 games, just in 3 at-bats, had a pinch hit appearance last night and had a walk. Gets a base knock.
So Adrian Saravo coming up on the 33rd pitch of the day through 2+, and the breaking ball settles in. Strike 1 to Zach Liu from Cal State Fullerton.
Yeah, and for Saravo, his worst start of the season, letting up 4 runs, hadn't given up 4 runs except in his last outing against Orleans, but so this can kind of be an inflection point in the outing. Can he limit the damage and give Hyannis some length?
Runner goes and Lou pops it foul. And by the way, I did say 2+, I meant 1+, and that even magnifies the issue for Adrian Saravo. Now, I was talking to former Y-D Red Sox Sam Beck about his status, and he says he's ready to go. The last time he pitched was 6 days ago. So not to say that Sam Beck would necessarily be the number 2 arm for the Harbor Hawks, but there are guys that could give them some length if they need it.
Yeah, Beck has pitched the ball really well for them. Obviously someone we know who made the transition from the Red Sox over to the Harbor Hawks. But he hasn't given up a run in the entire month of July, coupled with the outings with Y-D and then now with Hyannis.
Knight on first after his leadoff single. The 1-2 to Lou. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Briley Knight scurries back to the bag on the throw over by Raphael. 1 out in the bottom of the second for the top of the order, Wyatt Hoffman. Now that's the 3rd strikeout of the day for Adrian Saravo.
Second baseman number 3, Wyatt
And couldn't have come at a better time. Just trying to calm it down. By the way, Harwich has tied it up in Brewster 1-1, bottom of the 4th. Again, as Saravo's throw over to first goes way wide left. Briley Knight on to second as the throw trickles in, or rather out of play. So all of a sudden, Wyatt Hoffman gifted a prime RBI opportunity with a lot of speed, and Briley Knight on second base and only 1 out. But Harwich and Brewster tied at 1 apiece in the bottom of the 4th inning. Again, 1 Mariner win, 1 Y-D loss is all it takes to eliminate the Red Sox. Briley Knight taking off for third. The pitch outside, the throw way tardy. Briley Knight generating some real looks with his legs, now just 90 feet away from being the 5th run of the day, and Wyatt Hoffman up 1-0 in the count.
And Hoffman, someone who hits .550 with runners on base and .455 with runners in scoring position, but right there was just Briley Knight, high baseball IQ move.
And now the infield is in. Do you run on contact? Wyatt Hoffman fouls it back to the screen. Run on contact, run on the ground, that is. And when I say the infield is in, the infield is really in. And Kyle Ball, at one point in time in that last sequence, was playing a good 2 feet into the grass. Usually infield in just means toes on the grass, but he was playing well onto the grass. Now backs up a little bit. The 1-1 to Hoffman. Foul back, same spot onto the screen.
If you go back to what Briley Knight did Saravo, though, was taking his time, didn't have a quick time to the plate, lifted his leg, and you typically don't see someone angling to steal third for the second out right there, but Briley Knight able to do it because Saravo was taking his time, didn't really mix up his looks, and as soon as he got on second, he realized that and took third with plenty of time.
The 1-2 to Hoffman, grounded sharply left side, diving rather, spinning play by Luke Mann in a pickle. Briley Knight caught between third and home. Now he's scrambling home, and Adrian Saravo tags him in pursuit of home plate. Wyatt Hoffman advances to second with no one paying attention to him. 2 outs, and Briley Knight is picked off.
Yeah, but it's a good job by Briley Knight to at least get in the rundown long enough to allow Wyatt Hoffman to get in scoring position. But that was the kicker. Are you going to run on contact? What are you going to do? Luke Mann makes a nice play at third. He's able to throw it home. So Briley Knight gets in the rundown, but at least he got in the rundown long enough to allow Wyatt Hoffman to advance still to be in scoring position for the team's leader in runs driven in Tanner Smith.
So a 5-2, 6-1 fielder's choice puts Wyatt Hoffman on second base, and Tanner Smith takes it low, ball 1 on the fastball. Smith, like you alluded to, team best 18 RBIs on the season. And Wyatt Hoffman with plenty of speed on second base. 4-0 lead for the Red Sox, bottom of the second, 2 outs. Fastball inside.
Yeah, Tanner Smith said that he's got his coach from Oregon watching today in person, and he's excited to see him come play and hope to put on a show for him. Had a hit in the first, see what he can do here in the second.
Big swing and a miss for Tanner Smith. Might have nicked the home plate umpire on the backswing. 2 balls and 1 strike with 2 outs. Now there's plenty to like if you're the Oregon coaching staff about Tanner Smith and his All-American status. Doesn't really feel like he has much else to prove in the summer ball ranks, but still nice to go to the Cape. And as a reminder, we'll have a college coach upstairs with us in the 4th inning. Valenzuela of Long Beach State, Eric Valenzuela. Plenty to cover with him. Recent contract extension, 2 dirtbags on the team on the Red Sox, with Luis Ramirez and Chase Luttrell. Both have been integral to the Y-D success.
Yeah, and also speaking of Long Beach State, our scout liaison spent some time there and running their analytics over the past couple seasons, so it'll be fun to catch up and see what he has to say.
And the 2-1 to Smith. Taken on the inside corner for strike 2, and Tyler Bullock thought that was 3 for a second. So 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Wyatt Hoffman on second base. Bottom of the second, Y-D up by 4. Tanner Smith bends his knees, waiting for Saravo. Here's the 45th pitch of the day for the righty inside, and Wyatt Hoffman delayed steal. It was ball 4. No one paying attention. No, scratch that. Tanner Smith was hit by the pitch. So Hoffman just couldn't believe how lackadaisical Raphael was being about the ball in the dirt, and then realized why Tyler Bullock was delaying Raphael in his exchange looking for a new ball. So a fielder's choice and a hit by pitch put Wyatt Hoffman, Tanner Smith on first and second for Brooks Lee. 10 RBIs on the season, only 68 at-bats. He's hitting .411 going into today's game. Singled to center field in the first inning. And Lee cracks it to center field. Clark Elliott coming on. He can't get there. In one hops Elliott's glove. Wyatt Hoffman comes around to score. The throw to third not in time. And Tanner Smith is scurrying over to home. The throw again not in time. Tanner Smith dives in safely. That's a 2-run single for Brooks Lee. And the Red Sox lead 6-0.
Great play right there by Y-D in the base running of Tanner Smith, able to take advantage of the ball, getting behind Luke Mann at third base, coming around to score. But how about Brooks Lee? 2 more hits today, had 3 yesterday, and he just doesn't stop hitting.
Well, maybe the most impressive thing about Lee is Dominic Keegan, who's quite impressive himself, comes up, is that Lee has all the power in the world, but doesn't ever feel pressured to use even half of it. First pitch fastball down the middle to Dominic Keegan. Doesn't feel like he has to impress, doesn't do too much with a pitch. Dumps it into center field. 2 runs later, he's on second base.
And he crushed the ball both times to center field. He's been at the plate today.
1 ball, 1 strike to Dominic Keegan. RBI single in the first inning. That was part of the 3 straight singles that put Y-D in a good position, and Cody Huff with a 3-run home run shortly after. Fastball tails outside.
Well, Lee now on a 6-game hitting streak with the 2 hits today. Had a 5-hit game within that span, had a 3 hits last night, and already got 2 today and 2 at-bats.
Dominic Keegan, slow ground ball to second. Trent Taylor charging in. The throw is in time. Side retired. But Y-D adds a 2 more pair. 2 spot in the second inning, and they got 2 hits to do it with 1 left on. At the end of 2, it's Y-D 6 and Hyannis nothing right here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Back here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network, it's still Adam Meyer's turn in the top of the third inning with a 6-run lead. And now it's Will Connolly's turn. Will?
Thanks, Brad. And at the plate right now, Clark Elliott, top of the third. But how about a 6-0 lead for the Red Sox? 6 runs on 6 hits. And Adam Meyer working with a nice cushion here in the top of the third against Clark Elliott, who's aiming to try to get a batting title. Through 20 games, he's hitting .360, which is the best mark in the league for qualified hitters, as long as he stays qualified in position to take that mark.
Well, Elliott has really just been one of the bright spots for Hyannis all year, right? Just 7 wins, last in the CCBL standings, East or West. There hasn't been much to cheer for, but ever since he got here in July, it's been a different feel.
A swing and a miss. He goes down for the second time via the strikeout.
Now batting, right field.
And there's one out in the top of the third. But yeah, when you're hitting 360 through 20 games, you've really just swung the bat well in the form of Clark Elliott and getting on base at such a high clip. Riding a long on-base streak headed into this one, but Dominic Johnson now digs into the box to face Adam Meyer. And that slider gets away from him, goes to the backstop. We saw Tom Vasella. He went out to make a mound visit last inning when Adam Meyer was in some trouble. And it came right after a slider got away from him. We've seen a couple get away from him early in this outing. We've also seen it be pretty nasty at times as well. Dominic Johnson with 2 balls and no strikes, struck out swinging in the first. Adam Meyer with 3 strikeouts today. Johnson hitting .254 on the season with 2 home runs as he fouls away the 2-0 offering to the left side. But Dominic Johnson, it's a strike. He gets turned around on the play, and they said he swung, even though it came in and appeared as though it may have even hit him. He got turned around on that play on an inside pitch there.
But that's how nasty Meyer's stuff is. It has so much break that Johnson didn't know if it was either going to hit him or be in the strike zone. He couldn't decide.
Hit right side, and Johnson turns around and has himself a single after getting fooled the pitch before, and he's aboard with a 1-out knock here in the top of the third. But when you can make a hitter look like that, of course you need 3 strikes to get the guy out, but Dominic Johnson coming through and getting the 2-strike hit to the right side, it is pretty impressive. But hitters who get, hundreds of at-bats, Dominic Johnson with his 104th at-bat right there on the summer, you're going to have some swings that aren't the prettiest. As Luke Mann settles to the plate, hitting .298 on the season, but he has been really hot as of late, as the Hyannis team has been as a whole, hitting over .300 over the last 5 games and just shy of .300 over the last 10. Luke Mann, 5 straight games with multi-hit games, and he has hits in 8 of his past 9 games with 4 home runs. Has a walk-off hit during that span as well as he swings through the 1-0 pitch. A ball and a strike here to Mizzou's Luke Mann, with 24 runs driven in on the season, leading the team in that category, as well pacing the squad with 4 home runs. He's been a really solid staple in the Harbor Hawks lineup this year. Ball scoots away from Keegan, and Johnson takes second base. And now hitting in an RBI situation here. Mann, one of the better hitters in the league in terms of driving runs in. And the Harbor Hawks trailing by 6, aiming to get some runs. They had a threat last inning, but Adam Meyer was able to work out of the jam. And slider misses outside. Now 3 balls and a strike.
That wasn't a great frame by Dominic Keegan. A slider to the outside corner, and he had to reach over to make the catch. But if you can receive it, if you can cushion your mitt back and toss it back into the zone, that'll create the illusion of the slider slicing into the outside corner.
Mann pops up on the infield. Brooks Lee calling everyone off and catches it behind the mound in between second base and the hill, and is able to glove it for the second out. As Mann pops up to the infield, he's 0 for 2. And that brings up Nick Romero, who singled to lead off the second. With Dominic Johnson at second base, a 6-0 lead for Y-D. The Bats have been in full force against the Cape League All-Star, Adrian Saravo. They've really thrown a wrench into his earned run average, which was sub-3 coming into this game. He was a very dominant pitcher, but Cody Huff with the big swing in the first, Y-D tallying a few more on in the bottom of the second, and enjoying a 6-0 lead here at Red Wilson Field. But how about the beautiful day for baseball today? The sun is out. It's cool. It's just 5:30, only 30 minutes after originally scheduled starting time games. This game starting at 4:30 as it bumped up because of the sunlight. The next two home games as the runner is off in Johnson. Keek throws down to third, but it's Lou who applies the tag not in time, and Johnson swipes third base. But Brad, beautiful day for baseball. Of course, the fans all here and enjoying the starting time at 4:30. That's going to be the same starting time for the next two home games as well, with just 5 games left in the season. So
just the marker of the end of summer, really.
Yeah. The season going by so quickly. Grounded left side. Brooks Lee with the backhand over to first. Drew Bowser with the scoop. And it's Romero who's retired. Bowser flashing the leather, scooping up the throw from Brooks Lee. And in the middle of the third, Y-D leading by 6 runs on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Bottom of the third, a 6-0 lead for the Red Sox, and Chase Luttrell to lead things off. A new pitcher into the ball game, Evan Webster out of Louisville, making his 10th appearance out of the bullpen this summer for the Harbor Hawks. 16 2/3 tossed so far, 17 strikeouts and 7 walks with a 6.48 ERA. His most recent appearance came on the 28th of July against Gratuitous. Chase Luttrell hits it hard on the ground and has a single to center field to lead off the bottom of the third.
Kyle Luttrell has struggled mightily against lefties all year, and not wasting any time, seeing a pitch early in the count that he likes, and no point in being selective. You might as well just ambush that pitch.
Webster coming off a solid outing, though, went 3 innings in relief and didn't surrender any runs, just 1 hit at Katuitt just a few days ago as that ball cracked right side by Cody Huff. It's back. It has a chance. Forget about it. That one's not coming back. Cody Huff with his 2nd home run in as many at-bats. A 2-home run game for Cody Huff. And Y-D leads 8-0 here in the bottom of the 3rd.
And his first 2 home run games since his 2 Grand Slam game in Omaha.
Thank you. Now batting, first baseman number 2.
I'll scratch that. The regional, not Omaha, but en route to Omaha.
Yeah, Cody Huff known for the 2 home run games. Of course, the 2 Grand Slam games, which gave him a lot of notoriety when he was at Stanford, but 2 home runs and 2 at-bats for Cody Huff. Leaves the yard twice today, and Y-D in the bottom of the 3rd have 8 runs on 8 hits, leading 8-0 with Drew Bowser at the plate. So welcome Evan Webster to the ball game, new pitcher, but Y-D still able to hit. Webster in 2/3 of an inning at Harwich led up 5 runs on the 24th and led up 4 earned runs at Bourne in 1/3 of an inning. However, whenever he has gotten more than 3 outs, the most runs he's allowed is 2. But he's been chased quickly out of outings multiple times this summer. The 1-1 to Drew Bowser misses outside. But how about Cody Huff showcasing his power? First home run to left field. This one going to right center field as Drew Bowser swings through the offering from the lefty Evan Webster. And Cody Huff, he likes hitting on the left-handers, and it came in the form of a 2-run home run after Chase Luttrell, his roommate, got on for him, and an 8-0 advantage for the Red Sox. Drew Bowser grounded to the left side, handled by Kyle Ball at short. Throw to Romero in time at first, and there's 2 outs. Or 1 out, rather. Drew Bowser first retired here in the bottom of the 3rd. So 4 runs for the Red Sox in the bottom of the 1st, 2 in the bottom of the 2nd, and 2 more in the bottom of the 3rd, leading 8-0. So Briley Knight now hitting in the bottom of the 3rd with 1 out. With Y-D leading by 8 runs, grounded right side. Taylor down on it at second, over to first in time, and there's 2 outs now. So the single by Luttrell and home run by Cody Huff gave Y-D an 8-0 lead. And then Briley Knight and Drew Bowser ground out. That brings up Zach Liu. Liu taking the first pitch for strike 1. The 3rd baseman out of Cal State Fullerton. The summer dwindling down here in the final day of July. Season will end on Wednesday, August 4th. The regular season, that is, and that's what it's looking like when the season for Y-D will end as well. The only way they can get in is if they win out and Harwich loses out. Y-D has to go 5-0, and the Mariners have to go 0-5. So you tell me the likelihood of that. 3 balls and a strike here to Zach Liu against the lefty Evan Webster. And taken on the outside corner for a strike. However, when we do give you updates on ball games, right now Brewster is leading 2-1 against Harwich right now. The full count delivery to Zach Liu fouled away.
And that second walk coming on a second run coming on a Trey Faltini walk with the bases loaded. So you never really know, but Harwich shooting themselves in the foot on the road.
Nobody on, 2 outs, 2 already across for Y-D, and Zach Liu gets a board on the walk.
Designated hitter, number 29.
The Red Sox already with 8 runs in this one. It's just the bottom of the third.
Number 3, Wyatt Hoffman.
Now Hoffman will come to hit.
And by the way, if that scenario with Y-D winning out and Harwich losing out doesn't play out, it'd be the first time since 2008 that the Red Sox did not make the playoffs.
Yeah, Scott Pickler with his 6 rings. He's known to get in the playoffs as Wyatt Hoffman hits it left side. It's down, 2 bounces into the glove of Mitch Hardigan, but a 2-out single for Wyatt Hoffman. So the hits continue to tally up. The 9th hit of the day for the Red Sox as Wyatt Hoffman gets aboard. It extends the line down to Tanner Smith. Tanner Smith has scored twice and been aboard twice in this one, singled in the first and got hit in the second, but scored both times and now hitting with runners on first and second and 2 outs in the bottom of the third. First offering getting fooled. Upstairs fastball strike 1. And you talk about since 2008 in the mark for Y-D, they've been really accustomed to being in the postseason. However, it's just shaved down to 2 teams in each division this year rather than the 4 teams in each division.
And to be completely fair, have this been a normal year, Y-D would be destined for the playoffs.
Exactly.
So it is technically the first time they're missing since 2008, but like almost anything nowadays with the pandemic, put an asterisk next to it. Caveat.
Runners on first and second, the 0-2. Tanner Smith fouls it away right side in. You do look at the success that Y-D has had. Few franchises have had that same level of success over the past 10, 12 years with the 6 rings that Scott Pickler has accumulated. And of course, the fans and the faithful here at Red Wilson, they're used to seeing what Y-D can do. Tanner Smith goes down, but Y-D doing a lot today on the offensive end, leading 8-0 after 3 innings on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network.
Y-D Red Sox 6.
Back with you on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Red Sox enjoying an 8-0 lead. We've arrived in the top of the fourth. Adam Meyer on the mound alongside Brad Klein, and special guest in the broadcast booth with us, Eric Valenzuela, head coach at Long Beach State. Eric, thanks for joining us on the broadcast.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm pumped to be here.
So, Coach, you're here on the Cape. I think it's probably the only spot where Californians can go for vacation at this point, right?
Well, I will say this. I got out here on Thursday, and I called my wife Friday afternoon and said I apologize to her for not bringing her out here to this beautiful area. I can't believe how beautiful it is.
So
out
first
here.
time.
Well, I actually coached in Brewster for about a month.
Okay.
Back in 2003, but I don't remember it too much. And but it's beautiful out here.
What does that say about the Whitecaps?
Wow.
Pumped to, yeah. I mean, this is unbelievable, and the atmosphere and the weather, and gosh, this is great. Great baseball.
It is great baseball, and speaking of great baseball, I know the Dirtbags had some success this past year under your reigns, being in now your second year as the head coach this past year, but just had the contract extension we saw, and coming off.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank
yeah,
you.
congratulations with that, and
Appreciate it.
as ball grounds out to shortstop. But we talk about the success that you've had with the program and kind of have turned it around. It's pretty amazing to see where you've taken the program just in a short amount of time.
Well, I mean, it starts with, the tradition and history of Long Beach State baseball, Dirtbag baseball goes way back, and it's unbelievable. So I'm blessed to be here and blessed to be, the head coach here. It did have a couple years where, there was some struggles, and, these kids that we inherited when we got the job, guys like Chase Luttrell and Luis Ramirez that play here, just made the transition so much easier for us. And they were great kids and super talented. And, they were the ones that, we kind of just put a little blueprint together. And they went out and they're great kids. And, we just got this thing right. And, again, we had a good season last year, but didn't get to postseason. We had 16 games that we didn't play. We were the last team in the country to start practice. We had 4 weeks of practice before we had our first game, and we didn't have any non-conference games. And so we refused to use that as an excuse, and the guys played very well. And so, the future is very bright. And, again, that's why I'm out here and continuing to build relationships with these guys that I get to, be honored to coach.
Coach, I want to focus on Chase Luttrell and Luis Ramirez, the two guys that all the Y-D fans want to hear about because they've both been very integral in the success of this team. You are the one who kind of signed off on, okay, these guys have to go play on the Cape. Why them? What is it about them that makes them Cape-worthy? And, well, outside of their play, which we've seen already, at the beginning of the season, going into the summer, why did you say Luis Ramirez, Chase Luttrell belong here?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, when you're at a program like Long Beach State, we're gonna have those top prospects, and we're gonna be able to send multiple guys out to the Cape. And, we actually do our research, and we know these coaches really well and who are gonna gel with who and who are gonna make them better. And, Coach Pickler here, I've known him for a long time, and I know, he's gonna help certain guys, and he'll help all guys, but Chase Luttrell and Luis Ramirez were two guys that I just felt were just perfect matches for Coach. And to be out here in this setting, they were only going to get better. Chase is, I was just telling an advisor down here that I know that he's such a great baseball player, but, man, what a great person he is, what a great teammate he is, what a great leader. And for us to have him back again this year because he was draft eligible, I think MLB teams missed. I think they did. And we're benefit to get him back, but he is going to shine and get his chance next year.
You said Chase Luttrell, good baseball player, good person, can relate. Roommate of mine right now on the Cape, so there you go.
That's awesome.
But you mentioned that Chase wasn't picked up in the draft. I think a lot of people, a lot of advisors and scouts expected him to be drafted, maybe day 2, day 3, but now he's back. He's going back to Long Beach State. Two-parter here. What does that mean for the program, and what does that mean for Chase Luttrell in his trajectory towards pro ball?
That's a great question. I think, number one, we're lucky to have him back. We get our leader back. We get our best hitter back. We get our captain back. And then the second part of that is he's going to have a big chip on his shoulder going in, right? He should be. He should be frustrated, upset, but in a good way that's going to just, light his fire. And he's going to have a great year this year. And he's going to make some major league team very, very happy. That's for sure.
Is Adam Meyer issuing the free pass as runner gets aboard here in the top of the fourth? 8-0 lead for the Red Sox. And when you talk about Chase Luttrell, also talking about Luis Ramirez and what he means to your pitching staff, he's been really instrumental atop the rotation for the Red Sox this year, being one of their primary starters. And, of course, with Long Beach State over the past couple seasons, you've had some really good arms that have been one of the better pitching teams in the country. So what does it mean to have him and a slew of arms returning to the Dirtbags?
Yeah, and it's his time now, right? I mean, he'll be, he's had 2 shortened seasons with us, but this is his time. This is his, he's draft eligible. He's coming in as our, should be our Friday guy. He should be the guy. He's the top prospect guy, coming off the Cape. I mean, all of those things. So there's a lot that are riding on him, but he doesn't put a lot of pressure on himself. And I think this experience over here is going to make him better.
That ball cracked to the left side and over the fence, a home run, the first hit of the season for Joey Raphael, and he hits a 2-run home run. Now just a 6-run lead for the Red Sox after the home run to left field. And when you talk about Luis Ramirez and the way that your team played, you mentioned you played well down the stretch, winning your final 4 series of the year, and it kind of felt like your team had so much momentum, but did it give your team some motivation that you didn't get selected for the NCAA tournament? Did that kind of fuel the fire for the team coming back for next season?
Absolutely, and I think those last 4 weeks, I mean, we had backs against the wall and feeling that we had to win every game and every series, and our guys went out and did that. And I think being that close and probably the first team out, it definitely has fueled the fire for these guys going out to play summer ball. And when I talk to them on a regular basis, on a weekly basis, I mean, you just hear it, you feel it, the hunger in them and how they're working and how, the success they're having this summer. And so, yeah, this is a very exciting year coming up, and I'm excited, to get it going. We're a couple weeks away.
Talking to Eric Valenzuela here, the head coach of Long Beach State and the Dirtbags, and the head coach of Chase Luttrell and Luis Ramirez, 2 integral parts of the Y-D Red Sox this year, and high and tight fastball there.
Yeah, pitch upstairs. Looks like it got in on Caden Rose. The second hits batsman this inning for Adam Meyer. He hit Trent Taylor, and then Raphael hit the home run. And that one, a little dangerous sight right there, coming up and in on the 9th place hitter and designated hitter Caden Rose. So he gets tended to momentarily. But when you mentioned, you talked about the fuel that your team had and, of course, the guys that you are bringing back. Someone else that we've talked to from Long Beach State, Sean Ward, he's been up with us, and he's talking with us, of course, being Y-D scout liaison, but he talked about how he kind of handled a lot of the analytics at Long Beach State. What has he done for the program? We love having him around, but what can you say about Mr. Ward?
Yeah, well, you got to love Sean, right? I mean, the passion for the game and the passion for what he does is big. And, at Long Beach, we, coming from St. Mary's College where I was before, we didn't have a lot of those, those devices and TrackMan, and, we didn't have bats, and we didn't have the video technology that we did at Long Beach State. So it kind of took us a little bit to kind of get familiar with that and get familiar with, Sean and what he does and what makes him good and how it can help the ball club, and to dissect all of that. And so he's done a great job. I'm glad he's here. He's passionate about the game, obviously, and just like all you guys are. And he's in a great setting here. So hopefully with all these different experiences and the challenges that he's taken, he gets an opportunity, because he'll help a ball club for sure.
Now, it's certainly not the case for your kids, Luis and Luttrell here, but a lot of players on the Cape, even though they come from really good programs and they're really good players, they haven't really dove into those numbers and the analytics and the developments in baseball. How have you as a coach and how have the players as a whole responded to what Sean's offering you?
that's a good question, because I think as a coach in my background, I mean, I've really had to grow into it too, because I'm such kind of an old school mentality guy, but I also know the game is changing. And so you can't play the one way. If you're an old school guy and you're trying to hide away from that, the game's going to eat you up. And even the flip side of that, if you're too analytical and you're looking into numbers too much and you don't have that kind of grit and that old school mentality, that can also eat you up. So I'm trying to do the best job I can to utilize it in a positive way that's going to help develop our players, but also give them that other side of things and the old school mentality portion of this. But, Sean was able to, to help us, whether it was a certain pitch that he saw from a spin rate standpoint, or their hand, or whatever it may be. So he did a good job with numbers. He did a good job with, reports for our guys for after games when they needed it and when they wanted it, as well as for myself. And so, he was willing to do whatever we asked him to. I actually had him help me with a PowerPoint presentation when it came to draft, and it came to, Long Beach State versus signing out of high school, and he did some research on that and put together a really, really good PowerPoint for me, to share with families. And so just little things like that. He's very intelligent. And again, just the passion of the game, it's just great to have.
Have you been able to watch any other of your players throughout this summer? I know they're probably scattered across the country, a handful in this league, and of course 2 on the Red Sox. But have you been able to make your way and see a lot of your players competing this summer? Yeah,
well, I mean, we one of the things we do, summer ball to us, we call it our bloodline. So these guys are required. We want them to go out. And we want them to get out of their comfort zone and go to places that they never thought they would go, right? I mean, Bethesda, Maryland, to Brockton. I'm going tomorrow to watch my pitcher for the Brockton Rocks in the Futures League. We got guys in Alaska. I just want them to experience it. I experienced it as a player in Fairbanks, Alaska. I mean, you're talking about a Mexican-American kid from Southern California, from LA, spending 2 summers playing ball in Fairbanks, Alaska. I mean, never, and that experience I'll never forget. It made me a better person, better player. So summer baseball and going out and living that minor league lifestyle, living with host families and playing baseball every day and traveling, bus rides. I mean, if these guys truly want to play, professional baseball, what a great springboard it is for these guys to go through this. And they're going to struggle, especially when you come out here to the Cape and the level of baseball that's out here. I mean, for a hitter and, for a pitcher, I mean, you're facing the best every single night, and you can't have a day off. And so, again, it's just, it is the bloodline. And so for me to be able to see all these guys, I get to see in one weekend. I get here on Thursday, I leave on Monday. I get to see 6 of my players, better our relationship, take them to breakfast, take them to dinner, watch them play. I mean, I just think that does wonders, and I'm glad to be here, for these guys.
Talking to Eric Valenzuela, the head coach of Long Beach State, and watching his 2 guys, Luis Ramirez and Chase Luttrell here. And I want to focus on both of them because, again, they've been so integral to what Y-D's done this year, and Chase especially having all but one off day is basically what he's had. He's been a staple of the lineup, and rightfully so. He wasn't drafted. Luis Ramirez draft eligible next year, and Luttrell expected to be drafted next year as well. What's the next step in both of their developments?
Yeah, that's another great question. I think for Chase, I mean, here's an example. Coming out here playing, he played first base. So the first year I was here, he played the outfield for us. Second year, he plays first base. He comes out to the Cape, which is the best summer league in the country. And he's played, games at first base, games in the outfield. And so he's going to continue to improve and get better with all of that and that experience, and him coming back now, I mean, having, 3 years under his belt. But again, you have to remember these guys, what they've gone through. I mean, they've gone through 2 shortened seasons. Chase and Luis have gone through 2 shortened seasons. We had 15 games 2 years ago, and last year they missed 16 games and had 4 weeks of practice. So the development part of this thing, they haven't even reached. A guy like Chase Luttrell hasn't even scratched the surface for how good he can be, just because he hasn't had the same reps as a lot of other guys have. And so, again, I think sky's the limit. Him coming back as a leader, as a captain, playing the schedule that we're going to play and being around the guys that we're going to surround him with, he's going to make them better. They're going to make him better. Luis, again, he's another guy that again, 2 shortened seasons, You know, he hasn't he hasn't pitched a lot of innings just yet. This is like the most that he's pitched, and so again, the development part is still coming his way. He still isn't even close to how good he could be, and he'll show flashes of it, but he's only going to improve. And one more year of after this summer and playing next year, I mean, they're both going to be ready to go and help an organization for sure.
Eric Valenzuela, head coach, Long Beach State. I'm hogging him up. Sorry, Will, but a wealth of knowledge right here. All right, here's last one for me before I hand it off to Will, because, again, I'm sorry, but here we go. You did not recruit Luis Ramirez.
Mm-hmm.
What was your reaction when you got to campus, saw Luis pitch, and saw the slider?
Yeah.
What I mean, not many coaches can just go to a program, inherit a player with a pitch like that. That slider, people are still talking about it days after each start.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the stuff is there, obviously. I mean, the stuff is there for sure. I mean, he has that sinker. He actually throws a good curveball too, but you're right, that slide, and he has a good changeup. But that slider is a knockout pitch. I mean, it's a major league pitch, major league ready pitch, and again, the challenge for him is that it's almost like he can throw that 3 times in a row to every single batter, and it's going to be very difficult to hit, and so we have to still pitch, right? You still have to learn to pitch with your fastball, in and out, up and down. And well, go ahead. Where you get end of the inning? Should I say end of the
send
inning?
us the break. Let's do it.
Yeah, well, Chase Luttrell coming up next inning. You can call that at bat.
Oh man, I'm
Coming
definitely
up.
not. You guys are the pros. But Luis is, that slider is unbelievable. When that thing's on and he can get that fastball and changeup going, I mean, he's a legit 4-pitch guy. And with this being the knockout pitch, the slider being the knockout pitch, and so. This really helped him out here because it was backing up a little bit on him, and he wasn't getting the strikeout numbers that he did as a freshman. So him coming out here and fixing it was huge. And I know he's a lot more confident throwing it now than he was in the spring. So, all these guys need to go out with goals of what they're going to do to get better. Yes, they're going to play games, but I want them all to have a couple goals as to them individually, what they're going to really harp on, what they're going to work on, what's the one thing, adding a pitch, facing lefties as Chase Luttrell and doing, having better at-bats against lefties, not striking out as much. Whatever it is, you have to go out there with a plan. And so Luis's big plan was, to get more consistent with that slider, and I think he did that.
Yeah, the inning is over in the top of the 4th. 2 runs come across out of Meyer. Strands the bases loaded, works around a couple free passes, but now the Red Sox come into the plate here in the bottom of the 4th. Brooks lead Dominic Keegan, and then you'll get to see Chase Luttrell come up to the plate to face a southpaw. Once again, did have a base knock against the lefty in the 3rd inning.
And I got to see Brooks Lee way too much. He's in our league, and
yeah.
Well, what's it like to watch Brooks Lee?
No, I'm
and
trying
be
to.
able
You know what?
root
I'm
for
scouting
him?
too. I'm trying to figure out how we're going to get this guy out during the season. But
All right, so
man,
It's a tough out.
right now, let's say you're coaching Hyannis. What's the game plan? What are you doing?
Man, with this guy on the mound, lefty right here. Okay, there's nobody on. He's leading off, so you can't put him on, right? You have to pitch to him.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm
probably a good strategy to
Gosh.
not just give him the first.
Yeah, well, he tried to go. Yeah, I mean,
You try.
Brooks.
He's such a good hitter. I mean, gosh, we did everything, and he still killed us. I mean, we started him off slow, change-ups away, and he would take it the other way with power. We tried to go in, he'd pull it with power. You just hope that you get him in a situation where you can pitch around him, where you can't let him affect you, And unfortunately, he would come up always in our weekend where it was like bases loaded and we couldn't put him on, and so we had to pitch to him. But he's a good he's a unbelievable baseball player. He has great energy. He's fun to watch.
I don't think it's a secret that he's going to play minor league baseball. He's going to be drafted next year pretty high. A lot of people think top 10, maybe even top 5. Who knows?
Yep.
Where do you project him defensively?
You mean where he's going to play? I mean, he's just so strong and physical, but I mean, nowadays the game has changed. I mean, I think he could play all 3 infield. I mean, he could play the left side, he could play shortstop, third base for me at any point. He's just that smart instinct. He just has such good instincts that maybe the foot speed isn't, like some of the big league shortstops. But man, that first step and that instinct that he has, and just that baseball knowledge just makes up for it totally. And I definitely don't like to face him, but I love watching him play, and I love his energy and his passion for the game. So. Yeah.
The switch hitting shortstop has 14 hits in his last 23 at-bats. He's 5 for his last 5, with 3 hits yesterday and 2 hits in his first 2 at-bats today. Earlier this week, on his 6-game hitting streak, had a 5-for-5 game. And his average right now is .429 in the premier baseball league in the country. And Brooks Lee, definitely the switch hitting shortstop, projected to be a first rounder. And
he would be the batting champ if he was eligible, if he wasn't, doing that other thing, Team USA.
Yeah, no, he's a special player. And obviously, his father's a great coach and a great person. So I'm not surprised that Brooks is the way he is, for sure.
Now Dominic Keegan hitting here. Hitting just shy of 300 on the season. With a hit today, average right around 300 with 5 home runs. Hit 15 this past season at Vanderbilt. Another pretty good hitter at the plate. And on deck, Chase Luttrell. You see Luttrell hitting in front of 2 or behind 2 All-Americans in the lineup. It's pretty impressive to see the guys that some of your players get to play with as well.
Absolutely. And that's been fun to watch. And I was telling Coach Pick before the game that it's just awesome to see. It's like it's like Summer League All-Stars with all these guys. And you watch these guys now. I mean, this college baseball is, it's on TV, it's on streams. You see all these games. And now to be able to see these guys in this setting is pretty fun.
Well, let's just hope Dominic Keegan's okay. It looked like he took it off the right back foot.
Yeah, Dominic Keegan laying down right on the first base line in front of home plate after the hit by pitch. Being tended to right now. It appears to be in a lot of pain, laying down, fell down right after he got hit by the pitch, and Scott Pickler and the training staff tending to him right now.
Oh, looks like it's actually the left leg that might be of more concern.
There was 2 balls and no strikes, and the pitch came inside to hit Keegan. So runners going to be on first and second for Chase Luttrell. But you really sincerely hope Dominic Keegan is okay. He's battled through a lot throughout his career. Of course, before the 2020 season, had a blood clot that was severe in terms of potentially taking his life, a huge scare in his life, and in the shortened campaign at Vanderbilt, when the Commodores won a national title when he was a freshman and missed some time due to the injury, and now down right now. You hope he's okay. It's an incredible story of perseverance for Dominic Keegan.
I think that Y-D is going to be overly cautious here. Cade Hunter has a helmet. He's ready to run. And Keegan might just try to barter his way back into the game. I don't know, yeah.
Extreme,
but it's a showcase league at its heart, right? It's a developmental league, and Y-D is nearly eliminated from the postseason. It would make sense to be overly cautious.
Especially with a talent like Keegan, was drafted in this year's draft in the later rounds and projected to go pretty high. Going back to Vanderbilt, projected to be their starting catcher, but he comes out. And we'll provide any updates if we can, but Keegan leaving the game, and Cade Hunter now going to be running at first base with Chase Luttrell at the plate. Unfortunate situation right there with the hit by pitch forcing Keegan to leave the ball game. But now Chase Luttrell hitting.
And Coach, you watch Chase Luttrell offensively. As a visitor today on the Cape, seeing him develop in front of your eyes, what are you hoping to see Luttrell accomplish offensively on the Cape?
Well, I think obviously the competition is first and foremost, but his body looks good. He looks like he's been working really hard. He looks strong and physical, and again, like an opportunity like he's facing right now. He's facing a good left-handed pitcher, with guys on base and nobody out, and in a situation where, he's got to swing the bat. And so again, it's all these opportunities these guys get to see. But, seeing him, he looks, like he's made some adjustments with his hands. It looks like his body is better. And that, again, that's what summer ball is all about. I mean, when these guys, there's a lot of stressors when they're with us, right? You're talking about school, and you're talking about, the time management that these guys go through. It takes a toll on these guys' body and minds every day. The fact that they can come out for summer ball, play 10 weeks, and it's all baseball, every single day. That's what they're doing. That's huge in their development process, moving forward. And so, when they're waking up in the morning, having breakfast, getting weights, getting their weight training in, their conditioning in, coming to the field early, getting their BP in, playing a game against unbelievable competition, getting on a bus, traveling. I mean, it just does wonders for them, obviously mentally, physically, and gets them more prepared for the next level.
And, of course, this year, you talked about the lack of preparation that your team had last year in terms of the limited practices. That's not going to be the case this year. You'll have the fall and the...
I hope so.
Of course.
Knocking on wood right here.
I mean, it's, we are really hoping that we get to have our first, and remember, this is my third season, and I almost feel like, I have yet to have one. We have yet to have one full season.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we just haven't. We had no fall this year, and we started 4 weeks. We started 4 weeks behind everybody else. The year before that, we had a full fall, and then we only had 15 games. So we had, more than half of a spring we didn't have, and so I'm hoping that we can have a full season. This year with a full fall and a full spring. So.
And taking over a program in a time of such turbulence, you've been able to, you start off with a lot of adversity and rough times, but do you think that time at least helped your program kind of learn how to persevere and battle through things when they're outside their control and you can't control some of the misfortunes that went your team's way?
Yeah, I mean, and what these guys have gone through, guys like Chase that were here, the year before I got here too. I mean, they've been through so much. And I feel like, their characters have built, so much these last 3 years that, I really want them to have a full year this year. And these experiences that they're going through have been phenomenal. And so, I'm pumped to get started. August 23rd, we're going.
Chase Luttrell, he gets rung up right there, but it was a 9-pitch at-bat. And a lot of times throughout this summer, Chase Luttrell has put together some of the best at-bats we have seen. He's had multiple at-bats span over 10 pitches, and that does wonders for somebody who is trying to make a pitcher throw more pitches. I know this is a relief pitcher out of the bullpen, but he's able to battle up there a lot of the times we've seen this summer, and that's why he's a mainstay in Scott Pickler's lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I think he put a good at bat together, but I know what he'll say after is that a couple of those breaking balls that he felt straight back, one of those should have been out in right center field for a base hit or a double. But no, he's a tough AB, that's for sure. He is, and I'm pumped to be out here and see these guys go through this.
So. But Coach, it's funny because in talking to Chase, and again, we mentioned before that Luttrell has had one off day. It was near the draft. He has to be in the lineup every day for what he does defensively and offensively. Mm-hmm. The small ball has been very strong, laying down some bunts, sacrifice flies, just a really smart baseball player. Mm-hmm. And going into the season, I think the stats and the scouting report kind of gave us a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, hey, this guy could have some home run pop. Yeah. And we've seen some gapper pop, but no home runs on the season. So kind of defying the scouting report there. Something that has been a major takeaway is, unfortunately, that's his 37th strikeout of the season. And like you mentioned, maybe adjusting his hands. There are some things that he's working through. How does that number get whittled down for this coming season at Long Beach State?
Well, yeah, and again, that's part of the Cape, right? I mean, that's part of seeing the arms and learning from it, right? So the one thing he needs to do is take back, the things that he learned and take back the things that he struggled with and figure out why, right? Why are we striking out this much? And is it the velocity? Is it the breaking balls? Is it left-handers? Is it right-handers? So again, it's just gathering that information, and that's why you play summer ball, to get that information and to become better from that. So when you get back to your school in the fall, we make those adjustments, and we're better for it. And so I think that's what we're going to do with him. I mean, we're going to, and that's all of our guys, right? All these guys come back from summer ball. What are the adjustments? What did you struggle with? What were you good with? and let's build off of that, you know. And so a guy like Chase, that's what we need to do. You know, we need to look at these numbers and, you know, see what we did that was that was great in the spring, that he carried into the summer, and then things that he might have lost or things that he gained on both sides of this, and then we fix it.
Cody Huff gets it through into center field. A 3-hit day for the Stanford catcher. 2 home runs and now an RBI single as Brooks Lee comes around to score. And Cody Huff with his best offensive day of the season. His 6th RBI of the game. And Cody Huff driving in Brooks Lee. But you talked about Chase Luttrell, and Brad mentioned it. He has been able to drop down the bunt a handful of times this year, and sometimes in sacrifice situations, squeeze situations, or even doing it when teams really want to shift him for a single as well. And that's a good ability to have for a hitter. As Drew Bowser grounds to short, but throw gets away. Kyle Ball's throw goes wide, and Cade Hunter will come around to score as Drew Bowser advances to second. But talking about the bunt, what are your thoughts on his ability to drop it down and another versatile aspect in his game?
Well, we hope, I mean, you know, Brian Peters, who's our hitting guy, you know, does an unbelievable job of having the type of offense that our hitters can do a lot of things. I mean, we're not going to be the one-dimensional, you know, get a guy on, bunt him over, play for one. You know, we want to be physical. We want to drive balls in the gap and over the fence. But we also want to have the ability that when if there's a moment in the game that we have to lay down a very important bunt, whether it's a sack and it's a late show sack, or whether it's a safety squeeze or a squeeze or a push, those aggressive type of bunts, we want to be really good at those. And so I'm not surprised that you know, in those situations that Coach Pitt calls on him to bunt, that he's going to execute it. That's just part of our deal. But again, we're not going to be that prototypical, you know, West Coast style of offense where every time there's a guy on first base and nobody out, we're going to early show sack. We want to be offensive. We want to, you know, score runs in bunches. But again, we also want to be able to have the guys be able to execute at any moment with a challenging bunt. And so again, I'm pumped that he has been put in those situations where, you know, he has to put the bunt down, and whether it's a safety squeeze or a sack or whatever, and he's able to execute and be good at that.
And Coach, what I'm hearing from you is offensive versatility, and how much of that comes from your need and your desire to be competitive in your division, in your conference, and how much of it comes from you as a developer of future pro players?
Yeah, I think it's both. I think you gotta. The game has changed. I mean, and again, you know, we're old school, right? I mean, I just have that mentality, but you know, the game has changed where you're talking about guys that are physical and guys and you know, we want to be that style of offense that, you know, can put up, you know, and could win games 13-10 if we have to, but also have the ability to win a game, you know, 1-0 or 2-1, you know, and just be able to have any kind of style to win. And that's what it's all about is you know, finding a way that day to win that game, right? So, I mean, you're going to face a tough lefty, you know, that's going to take you into deep waters, and you're going to have to win a game 2-1 and score late on a safety squeeze in the 8th, you know what I mean? Or, you know, you're going to play on a game like today where the wind is howling out, you're playing at a small yard, and you know what, you're pitching, they're just hitting, you know, and all of a sudden you got to, you know, you're going to war against the team, and it's back and forth, and you got to be able to score in bunches. And so, you know, you have first and second with nobody out. You're not going to bunt them over because you know that's not going. You got to score big, and so we want to be able to have, and we have that ability and those players to be able to do all of those things.
New arm into the game, a right-hander for the Harbor Hawks, number 35, Salvatore Fusco from UMass Lowell, a senior from Albany, New York. And you talk about the different styles of games. You mentioned actually the West Coast, and speaking of Scott Pickler, he's constructed his lineup with a ton of guys from California and the West Coast. And you mentioned your relationship with him. Do you plan in the future to consistently send players each year to Scott Pickler and the Y-D Red Sox?
I'd love to. If he takes them, if he wants them, you know, I'd love to send them out here. I know he enjoys our 2 players that are here with us. You know, even when I was at St. Mary's College, we sent Ty Madrigal out here, who's a left-handed pitcher, who did well. So I think a lot of times if your players come out and do well for these coaches, they'll want more.
Well, I quick question here. You mentioned earlier, well, in terms of placement, we look into the coaches and we do our research and we try to figure out how our guys are going to mesh with them. What was it about Scott Pickler and or his staff that made you want to say, okay, Chase and Luis have to be here?
Well, I just think the experience factor. I think they're both different for both players. I think, you know, the old school mentality, you know, kind of that historical kind of old school style coaching is going to do a lot of it's going to do wonders for Luis. Just being in that setting with the guy that has that's been around so many good baseball players. I wanted Luis to be around him. With Chase, it's more of Coach Pickler as just a great baseball coach, and he's just going to better him and take him to another level to help us when he comes in, you know, in the fall for us. And so again, there were both kind of different reasons, but I mean that just says a lot about Coach and what he's been able to do.
We're here in the bottom frame of the 4th. Zach Liu hitting against Salvatore Fusco, hanging out with Eric Valenzuela, head coach at Long Beach State. And we've talked about some of the adversity that you have battled with your program, of course, with the factor of COVID-19. But when you take that out of the equation, what has been the most difficult part about being a head coach of a program? Is it the in-game management, the development, managing the student athletes in another way? What have you found is the biggest challenge for you as you're taking over the program you feel like now after your 2nd season?
Well, it's the preparation, right? I mean, we take a lot of pride, us coaches, in preparing these guys at a super high level because that's what it's going to take to get to Omaha, right? I mean, you have to be unbelievably prepared. And I felt like, you know, for nobody's fault, right? COVID-19's fault, our players for 2 seasons haven't got the full development, you know, that other schools or other programs that have had. And some schools have been in the same spot as us, so it's not just us. But again, I think that's the biggest, you know, that's what these guys have missed the most is that time to develop and get better. The fall to me is the most important time, right? It just is. There's individual sessions, there's strength and conditioning all fall. Then you have your team aspect of things. You could take it slow. Guys build arm strength. You know, they get at bats. They can work on those individual things that they need. It's so long and it just, the development happens, you know, they change their body in those months as well. When you don't have that and then you come in and have 4 weeks of practice to prepare, I mean, there's really you're preparing them for season more than you are for actually their development as baseball players, right? I mean, from a pitching standpoint, I had to get Luis Ramirez ready in 4 weeks to pitch in a game, not focus on that changeup for this week or that like we would in October, you know, or that slider and get it right. Or if he's struggling with the fastball away, to really harp on that for 2 weeks, you know. We didn't have that time.
And typically you'll be able to build those pitchers up. Say they throw a few innings, they have 6, 7, 8 weeks after they get back from winter break. And, okay, now they're ready to go throw 100 pitches. But you didn't have that luxury. And I know I've heard, speaking on the question of coaches, one of the more difficult things to do as a coach is manage a bullpen, right? And you didn't really have adequate information on a lot of the pitchers coming out of the bullpen this season, did you? Because of the limited action you saw them in
the new guys, you don't know what you're kind of getting, right? I mean, you just don't. Everything was on Zoom until February 16th. I mean, so I didn't know. There was new guys that we had that I had no idea about. Not only that, it's even, you know, get it one more further is our conference had 4 games on a weekend. So we were playing Friday, doubleheader Saturday, 1 game Sunday. So now you're talking about, you know, a pitching staff that, you know, you're trying to manage your weekend without getting these guys injured and keeping them healthy. And so, yes, it was very challenging when you're talking about, you know, managing the pitching through the year. And, you know, we had to make some you know, some changes that might have cost us some games only just because we want to make sure that these guys were not running them out there for too long when they're not prepared properly. But what it did too, it also gave it also gave guys an opportunity. It also gave guys that we maybe wouldn't have had those innings get those opportunities. So.
Yeah, and we've really enjoyed the opportunity to sit down and speak with you about your coaching philosophy, your experience here on the Cape, seeing some of your players here. And if you wouldn't mind staying for another inning or
whatever you guys want, I'm here. I'm on. It's like I'm on vacation. You know, it's this is unbelievable. And you know, we've been grinding all summer, recruiting, and my assistants. I mean, I have one in Georgia right now and one in Arizona, and I'm out here in the Cape, and so. These guys are working hard. So for me, this is a treat. This is, you know, to be able to see these players, my guys, and take them to lunch and just spend time with them.
Yeah, what's on the menu?
Where did we go? Coach Pick told me a place. Is it Shakey's or is it Sharky?
I don't know.
I forgot what he told me.
I set myself up for failure. That's for sure. I'm not from around here either. So.
But I've had so much clam chowder in the last 2 days that you know, I think when I get home, I don't know if I'll ever have clam chowder again until I come back out to the Cape next year.
Well, we'll take a quick break. Eric Valenzuela will be with us on the other side for another frame. Brad Klein as well, an 8-run lead for the Red Sox. We send it to the 5th on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Back on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network, a 10-2 lead for Y-D. They tacked on 2 more in the bottom of the 4th after scoring 4 in the first, 2 in the second, 2 in the third, leading 10-2. 10 hits on 10 runs for the Red Sox today. Alongside Brad Klein and Eric Valenzuela, head coach at Long Beach State. Appreciate your time joining us here, and we've gotten to talk as you've told us about your stay here on the Cape.
We're breaking down baseball and enjoying this beautiful weather out here in the Cape.
And as we've mentioned, you had the contract extension after 2 years at Long Beach State and going into that 3rd season, but this one kind of feeling like a full season at this point. When you develop a culture for a team in your 2nd stint as a head coach at the NCAA level, are there certain rules or certain laws that you lay down to your team, like this is one thing that you're really a stickler for, like clubhouse rules, doghouse rules, or do you not kind of have that with building a culture?
Well, I mean, yeah. I hope to build a culture that's obviously disciplined, that's respectful, but also one that's fun. I mean, I think that's important. I mean, I'm 43 years old. I feel like it was yesterday that I was in these guys' shoes. And I tell these guys all the time, I want to coach and be the coach that I would want to play for as a player, right? I'm also a dad. And so I tell parents in the recruiting process that, I have kids too. And I want to coach the way I would want my kids to be coached, pushed, driven, and a lot of times that's not, hugs and kisses, a lot of times it's hard nose and getting on guys. Everybody's different. And I think that's our job as coaches, is to figure out individually what these guys need, right? What kind of, do they need to be pushed and driven hard? Do they need an arm around them, letting them know that everything's going to be all right? And so again, that's kind of our job as coaches, to individualize each of these guys and find out what gets these guys motivated and what makes it tick. So I think that's the biggest part of my job, especially early in the fall, is getting to know these guys more and more. I mean, here I am out here, I get a weekend with 6 guys, and I'm going to get to know them even better, right? I've had a lot of these guys for 2 years now, but it's also been 2 shortened seasons as well. So being out here, being able to spend time with these guys are going to better our relationship, and it's going to continue to grow that trust on both sides. And that's what we're here to do.
And Coach, just jumping off of that, right? I think in a weird way, it's a very weird situation that every new coach is put into, where you enter a program, a lot of talented guys there. You're trying to just keep them there, and in many cases they came to a school for a coach that's no longer there. You want to keep them out of the portal because they're talented. How did you sell a Chase or a Luis on your version of Long Beach State?
Well, I think first and foremost, we didn't have the transfer portal back then when I got the job, so that probably saved some that didn't know, at least didn't know me personality-wise or who I was, and so I think that obviously helps. But for instance, this year and just continuing to build these relationships, I think, I think the transfer portal is good in some cases, right? Some guys, they're just it's not the right fit for whatever reason. Maybe it's location, maybe it's school, coaching staff, whatever it may be. Maybe it's them not being able to find a home on the field. I mean, for a lot of different reasons, this transfer portal can be good. And so I think when I got the job, I think, like I said, first and foremost is just to individualize each guy and let them know. It's not hard. It wasn't hard for me. I've done this before, coming into a new program and doing that. I mean, obviously nervous, but it's hard for the players, right? It's a new coach. What is he going to do? What is he going to think of me? All of that. So that is the hardest part of the transition, is making sure that your team feels like you're behind them 100%. They're my guys. Yes, maybe I didn't recruit them, but they're my guys. I'm the head coach here. You're playing for me. We're, and I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to coach you up, and that's what this thing is all about.
Yeah, you're right, Coach. It didn't even dawn on me that the transfer portal at the time wasn't even an option. So was that more or less pressure for you in that, well, on one hand, they can't leave. On the other, you might have a roster of some guys who might not be the best fit for you?
No, I think you just have to adapt. I think each kid, if you do a good job of individualizing, each of these guys, I mean, you could be a good fit for anybody. That's how I look at it. I mean, I could be a good fit for anybody. If there's a guy that's an academic guy, there's a guy that's an analytical guy. If there's a guy that, that's just a hard-nosed kid and doesn't know it. I mean, you have to, as a coach, be able to adapt to all those different areas. Now, the hardest part is if there's an academic issue, an off-the-field issue, all those things, well, then he's not going to be a good fit for our program. He's not. If you're making bad choices off the field and you're not, using this opportunity that you have, that's going to be a problem. But if they're different personalities and different, type of players, well, that's our job to adapt to that and to make them as good as we can. And that's part of coaching. And so, no, that part of it was fun. It's fun to meet a new group of guys that you didn't recruit and to help them mold, and help them. And they help you as a coach as well.
And with coaching, of course, success for a team defined with wins and losses, and you have brought the program up from the years past with the success, as we mentioned, as Wiltsey, the new pitcher, into the ball game. This frame gets his second strikeout of the frame, 2 outs and 2 aboard here in the 5th. But when you talk about success as a coach in terms of measuring wins and losses, how else do you measure your success in terms of developing these young men who eventually graduate? And if baseball isn't in their future, do you have other metrics or ways that you can develop at least that goal-setting format to say, I'm successful as a coach if I do this outside the wins and losses?
Yeah, and again, that's the hardest part. That's that fine line, right? Because the one thing is you want guys that their number one goal is to play in the big leagues. I mean, for a college baseball coach at our level, you want that to be their goal, right? My goal is to be a major leaguer, and now I don't want to say that with sounding like the academic side of this thing isn't important, because it absolutely is important, and I've been at private school, St. Mary's College. I mean, you're talking $60,000, 4,000 students, academic, private school, all that. I graduated from Pepperdine, as well. So that part of it is important, truly. But I want my guys to feel, to You know, they're shooting for the stars, they're getting after it, but they always are going to be great in the classroom to have that to fall back on. And that has to be important. And if it's not important to your coaching staff, it's not going to be important to your team. And so it's about getting them the help, the mentors, the tutors, and to talk about it a ton and let them understand that, look, your goal is Major League Baseball. I love that. But at some point, this thing is going to end. And when it does end, you have to have this degree, you have to have these learning skills and the responsibility to be able to do something great, you know, in life after baseball. You know, and I always use the example of, you know, I coached 4 years for Tony Gwynn, a Hall of Famer. You know, he played 20 years in the big leagues and he was still a college baseball coach. He still had a lot of life left, you know, and God rest his soul now. But I mean, you know, he had the second part of his life, and that's a Hall of Famer that had 20 years in the big leagues, and he still was working, you know. And so again, these guys, baseball is going to end, and they have to be prepared. And so that's what, you know, my goal is. Yes, we want to develop these guys to chase their dream, but as important, if not more, is we're building men, you know, and that's what we're doing. We're building men, and we're building, you know, when they leave our program, our hope is that they are better men. They're yes sir, no sir. They're going to be great husbands. They're going to be great fathers. They're going to be, you know, if they're going to own a business, they're going to own, you know, they're going to be super competitive and be the best at that. If they're employees, they're going to be able to work, you know, as great teammates in this business world, whatever it may be. I mean, that's what it is.
Absolutely. I appreciate those comments. It's been fun hanging out with you. Last half inning coming up next half inning with us.
Absolutely.
All righty. We'll see you on the other side of the break. Bottom of the fifth, we go. Y-D up by 8 on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Back with you on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. A 10-2 lead for the Red Sox. They've scored in every frame, and they're leading by 8 here in the bottom of the fifth. Tanner Smith, Brooks Lee, Dominic Keegan due up here alongside Brad Klein, Eric Valenzuela, Long Beach State head coach alongside us as well. It's been fun talking baseball and breaking down things. You enjoying your stay here on Cape Cod for a few days, and it's beautiful to see the premier collegiate baseball league in the country, including some of your own.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's you know, it's almost like a short little vacation, you know, cross country. But and like I said earlier, I apologize to my wife for not bringing her out here and enjoying this beautiful place. But I'm gonna bring her back. I'm bringing my family next summer for sure, because this is unbelievable.
Yeah, and the history, the notoriety of the league, something that we get to experience every day. It's been great to see just all the talent across the league, and of course the success and history that is involved with Cape Cod and the baseball league. But not just that, you're also just on Cape Cod. That's just in itself a vacation.
I had to buy a map. I went to the John F. Kennedy Museum, and I bought a map like that. I bought this beautiful map that I'm gonna frame, and I'm gonna put it in my office. Because I want this to be, obviously, this is a goal, right? I mean, this is, if you're a high school freshman or high school senior coming in your freshman year, to play in the Cape, that's right. That's a goal. I mean, that should be right. That's a goal, to play in the Cape, play Team USA, and then get drafted and you go. And so I thought that was I'm glad that I did that.
All right, so just to be clear, though, this map is just for framing purposes. You're not actually going to use the map. You got to be careful, right? Because you can't be that tourist walking around with a map. That's the last thing
you've got the phones.
No.
Right?
I'm talking about like the map of the Cape, a huge map that I'm going to frame and put up in my office.
Show the
just
players.
To make sure.
Brooks Lee grounded right side, could be 2, and it is a 4-6-3 double play.
He got out. How about that?
Did you take notes?
Yeah, fastball way down and away.
It does not happen often, but Brooks Lee did indeed get out grounding into the double play. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. And when we talk about lineup cards, and Brooks Lee, of course, always in it when he's on the team, along with Chase Luttrell, who's on deck. But as a head coach, someone who writes the lineup, is that a difficult thing when you just have 4 games on a weekend in the nature of the what have you done for me lately business of baseball? If a guy's in a slump, do you feel like it's difficult? Do I pull this guy? Do I put this guy in? Is that a part of coaching that you sometimes have to deal with that's difficult?
As long as you communicate, I think is a big deal, right? I think you communicate with guys and you build relationships with guys. You're able to do some things that may shock them, but if they trust you and you trust them, then everything's good. We do a good job, and Coach Peters and I really talk about our lineups, and we change our lineups a lot. I mean, we do almost every game. I mean, we do. We just, because a lot of it isn't, that's a good swing.
It is a good swing, and it's a knock for Cade Hunter, hitting in the spot of Dominic Keegan, who left the game after getting hit by a pitch in the 4th inning, and Hunter with a solid swing.
And to go back to it, a lot of our lineup is adjusted by who's on the mound, who we're facing, right? I mean, who the starter is and what he throws, and so that might be, that's going to not cause us, but we're going to put a different lineup together that's going to help us against that. Against that style of pitcher.
A balk allows Cade Hunter to advance to second with Chase Luttrell at the plate, 1 for 3 today. And
So, Coach, I'm sorry to cut you off, Will. Struck out looking his last time up, Chase Luttrell. He's had an inning to chew on that. Knowing Chase the way you do, what's his mental process going into this at-bat?
He's probably happy that lefty's out of the game, that's for sure. Even though he had a hit off on the at-bat before, but the guy threw some good pitches at him the last at-bat, so I think he's pretty happy that he's facing a righty here.
Yeah,
but he has open base, so the righty has an open base here, so he can pitch around him a little bit because he has a righty on deck.
Righty on deck who already has 6 RBIs.
Yeah, you're right. There you go.
So.
And it's 10-2, so I don't think he's going to be pitching around Chase too much.
Salvatore Fusco on the mound, the right-hander facing Chase Luttrell. But the interesting question about the construction of a team when you only travel, say, 25, 35 guys is only 9 are on the field at a time. So I always think it's an interesting dynamic with all the players. Even if you're on the end of the bench, you have to be ready to come in. As Chase Luttrell swings through the breaking ball from Fusco to end the bottom of the 5th. And it's a 10-2 lead for the Red Sox as we send it over to the 6th. Eric, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you guys, man. This was awesome. I love talking baseball and great baseball out here, and I appreciate you guys having me.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. It's been a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of the ball game. We'll be hoping for a Chase Luttrell home run coming up in a couple innings, all right?
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
We send it to the 6th on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Y-D leading 10-2. Back with you on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network alongside Sean Ward, scout liaison for the Y-D Red Sox. And you're the second consecutive guest to be affiliated with Long Beach State. We were just joined by Long Beach State head coach Eric Valenzuela. Just had the contract extension, finished his second season at Long Beach State, joining us on the broadcast for a few innings. And with the absence of Brad Klein for a little bit, you're joining us on the broadcast, Sean, for the second time. Thanks for hopping on. And, of course, it's been a good day for the Red Sox today, up by 8 runs.
It's been a great day. It's nice to see the Red Sox actually coming through with, scoring runs and being ahead. It's been a rough go for recently, but it's nice to see them actually doing well. And speaking of Eric Valenzuela, the contract extension is news to me, actually. I didn't know that.
Yes.
So I actually love to hear that, because what Valenzuela has done at Long Beach State, it's absolutely amazing.
2026 extended through.
Oh, that's so nice.
Just
he
came
deserves
out.
it.
Yes, and actually, when we mentioned Sean Ward, that's not the first time your name has come up on this broadcast. He was actually talking about you on the broadcast a little bit, and we were also talking about you and what we've seen you do with the Red Sox, and he talked about how you actually helped him create a PowerPoint about the draft. And
yeah.
He talked about the analytics, and he said he really hadn't had a ton of access to that in previous coaching stops. But you've obviously introduced that, and we've had you on to talk about that before, as Wiltsey is on the mound. Do you have much knowledge about the right-hander?
Did you ask if he knows Ryan Wiltsey? I'm curious, because he's from St. Mary's.
I did ask him that in a break, and he said he actually did not know.
Oh, okay, I was curious. But Ryan Wiltsey's not the biggest velo guy, but he's got good numbers. His fastball does move a lot. He's very efficient with it, and so hitters will be missing under it quite a bit, even though the velocity isn't there with it. But yeah, for Eric Valenzuela, I've done a lot, and he deserves a lot, and he just such a good dude. I would do anything for that man. I'm really grateful for everything he's done for me, and I can't thank him enough.
We'll be sure to let him know. But Wiltsey, the right-hander on the mound, we did indeed ask that question, being from St. Mary's, and he, of course, does know a lot of players on the Red Sox roster. Brooks Lee came to the plate. He said, honestly, I'm scouting right now because we don't know how to get him out.
Oh, it was an issue.
And the only other question is, it's kind of an issue for the whole country. I mean, he's hitting way above 400 in the best league in the country this summer, and he just doesn't stop hitting. But not only that, Sean, of course, you being from California, most of this roster constructed from the West Coast. When you look up and down the roster, even if you just look at the starting lineup with Wyatt Hoffman, Tanner Smith, Brooks Lee, Chase Luttrell, Cody Huff, Drew Bowser, Briley Knight, Zach Liu, all from the West Coast.
Love to see it.
And a big reason why Valenzuela was talking about his relationship with Pickler, and of course Pickler dominating that regional location. It's nice to see, but he also mentioned he's kind of blended in his styles of coaching with the old school and the new school, and I thought that was interesting as well, as a leader in front of many young men who are aspiring to be professional athletes, how they can kind of get a taste of both from Coach Valenzuela.
Right, and it's really nice with Eric. Obviously, I'm working in a new school style of baseball, and Eric was very old school. But having someone not just write me off and take to it and want to learn and use what I say, it's really nice. And it obviously helped Long Beach State. It was that what I don't know. I have nothing but praise for that man. Everything he's ever done, it's great. He deserves that contract extension, and I'm sure he'll have a successful career for a long time there.
How about what Cody Huff has done today? 6 runs,
goodness.
A week's worth of RBIs just in one game. That will absolutely play.
That plays.
6 RBIs, a couple home runs. He's been pretty solid.
Yeah.
And so have the Red Sox. So we're kind of doing some broadcasting musical chairs today. A couple guests have been on with us. Sean Ward here in the top of the 6th. And, of course, for the fans who don't know, the scout liaison for the team as the season has been dwindling down now. How have you enjoyed your summer so far on Cape Cod?
Being here is an absolute dream. I grew up watching Cape games and learning about the Cape. As a player, both throughout junior college and at Long Beach State, I have always dreamed of playing at the Cape.
You grew up watching some games?
I not growing up essentially, but I'd say over the last 6 years, once I got into more of the college baseball scene, working in it and playing in it, the Cape was like being the dream.
Yeah.
That's the absolute dream, is to play here. And so I would watch games of not just Red Wilson, but other teams. And so actually being here and part of the team, part of the experience for the whole summer, I've loved it. It's been 7 weeks of absolute heaven.
Does it feel a little surreal to you? Because it's something that you've noticed, and I know for me as well, both being former collegiate athletes, like Cape Cod is so synonymous with ultimate collegiate baseball success.
Right,
so does it feel a little surreal that you get to do something that you've really aspired to do for a long time?
It's kind of funny because the surrealism does come, but it's less on the job title and more with the, oh my God, I'm on the East Coast right now.
Yeah.
Like, it hits me once in a while. I'll be watching a game like, wait, I'm across the country.
All the
Wait a
way,
second.
you're coast to coast right now.
I am basically as far away as you can be from here right now, from my hometown. So it is that is the surreal part for me. Just everyone here has made it feel like home, from Y-D to my house to everything. Just I feel welcomed. I feel super loved here. So you guys, including you, Will, have made this quite lovely to be.
Well, it's been just such a blast to see all the like-minded individuals, because they know it's the ultimate place to be in collegiate baseball for the summer. It's the Cape Cod League, and so you, of course, knowing about it prior to coming here and the notoriety that the league has had, and myself as well, I think one of the most surreal things is just to see the talent. I mean, every single day, obviously on the weekends, you go play a top 25 team. You're going to see some pretty good players like Cody Huff, who has his 4th hit of the day. But you're also going to see some pretty good players just for a span of time. You get to see it every single day, these guys battling, and I think it's one of the most marvelous things to see.
It's really interesting, the dynamic, the difference, because at Long Beach State, it's Mississippi State comes to town, and they're big school, Miss State, oh my God. And you prepare all week and then there for 3 days, and that was the rush, and it's gone. And here in the Cape, every single team you play has SEC players, has top 25 players. Every single team you're preparing for the best in the country. So, and you don't have 5 days of the week to prepare either. You have the night.
Drew Bowser to short diving play, though, made by Kyle Ball. Cody Huff off the base paths. But not before we got to say Cody Huff, 4 for 4 today. If you want a player of the game, well, we'll give it to you. Cody Huff, 2 home runs, 4 hits, and 6 runs driven in on the day. So
it's a good boost to the average, I'd say.
It's a good boost to the old batting average. Before this game, Cody Huff, his batting average at the plate for the Red Sox was 198. However, after 4 hits today, Cody Huff is hitting 232, so he's boosted the old batting average by over 30 points just through 4 at-bats during this game.
He deserves it too. I remember his first date here was not the best showing. He came in, I think it was 0 for 3 day, a couple strikeouts, not looking too good, and I'm sure travel, all that kind of stuff. But as he's been here, he's done nothing but get better. From day one, he has been a catching phenom here. He throws, I would say, his stolen base percentage off him must be around 50%, which for a catcher is incredibly impressive. But it really does feel like every person who tries to take a bag on Cody Huff gets tossed.
This ball hit to the left side, and it's another base knock for Daniel Rivera.
The best player in the Cape.
And one of the best, you got to say now. And what is Daniel Rivera's batting average when you're on the microphone? 2 for 2, right?
Daniel Rivera, I believe.
2 for 2. He's 3 for 3 on the season for fans listening.
Yes.
As Sean jokes about him being the best hitter in the league. Well, that was his 3rd at bat and his 3rd hit. He's 3 for 3 with a run scored and 2 walks. He's been on base now 5 times.
I will take full credit for being his good luck charm. I will take full credit for that.
Southern New Hampshire University player from New Britain, Connecticut, was activated about last week and has gotten sparing at-bats in games like these when the score is lopsided in either way, but he's 3 for 3.
I think it's time here to start. I think it's time he earns a little bit of play time.
You think, 5 games left in the season, maybe see what he can do in his start?
Exactly. It's more so to him, too. He came down to the Cape from a little bit away, and, he's been here, been awesome on the bench. All the guys love him, and, he deserves at-bats. I think he should see some more because also his at-bats have been very good at-bats.
Yeah, in the small sample size, he has done well. A little bloop single to the left side there, but Daniel Rivera from New Britain, Connecticut. And this past season, he did get a lot of at-bats, 144 at-bats at Southern New Hampshire, and he had a really good batting average. He hit .319 during the season, so he's no stranger to having some success at the plate. He hit .319 during that span with 4 home runs as well, as he is aboard on first base.
You love to see it. Smaller schools like that, they don't play the best competition, and so whenever you see numbers like that, you always think, what will that play like against good pitching?
Right.
Well, obviously, come here, and he's doing just fine against good pitching.
Of course, because when you look at coming from a Division II university in Southern New Hampshire University, it's hard to what that will measure up against guys, either the top junior college guys or the top Division I guys, because the average fastball, a lot of those metrics, they're much higher at the Division I level. And to see that stuff playing at this level is pretty cool to see. And, of course, even Joey Raphael, who is a Division II player, he hit a home run this game in the 4th, and someone who was also from the ranks of the Division II side, was at Nova Southeastern, a school that has produced J.D. Martinez. So there's still some good players at the Division II level, and some scattered throughout this league, but of course primarily at another level, as Wyatt Hoffman at the plate and Crew Robinson on deck is taking some practice cuts, and the bat dislodged from him momentarily.
Scaring the fans a bit, but keep them on their toes. You never know.
Wyatt Hoffman drives it to center field. That's going to score a run. Drew Bowser trots home, and it's 11-2. Wyatt Hoffman, he is hitting .500 with runners in scoring position. Well, he continues to boost that old batting average with runners on, scores another run, and he's someone, when you talk about stories, when you come into the year, you kind of mentioned your perception of a guy. Wyatt Hoffman, a Cape League All-Star with a hit today, hitting .278, was an All-Star. The RBI knock is just outstanding atop the lineup with runners in scoring position, but his statistics at the collegiate level, we've visited this notion many times, he's really outperforming anything he's ever done as an NCAA player this summer.
There's so many factors that change coming to the Cape, whether it be the pitching. People like velocity sometimes, whether it be the wood bats. Maybe he just loves wood bat, but it's really hard to tell what maybe Coach Pickler found.
Coach Pickler has to be.
Maybe he found the right formula for it. But yeah, there's so many things that change coming here, and apparently Wyatt Hoffman, it changed for good. Some guys.
He's been consistent all summer. It hasn't just been a stretch of a few games. Wyatt Hoffman's been really good all year long.
He started the game on the bench for us, but he really came through. He got put in the game and has done nothing but hit the ball well and play a good second base.
And that's what Y-D has done today too. 15 hits, and they have 11 runs, leading 11-2. Crew Robinson at the plate hits this one left side. Under it is Hardigan in left field. He gloves it in left to retire the side. 2 left on for Y-D. 1 comes across in the 6th, and they lead 11-2 on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network.
Back here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network, top of the 7th inning, and the Red Sox leading 11-2 in a must-win game. But then again, what game isn't a must-win at this point for the Red Sox? They have to win out, and Harwich has to lose out in order for Y-D to make the CCBL playoffs. And a first pitch breaking ball is high off the arm of Ryan Wiltsey to Luke Mann, who's 0 for 3 on the day. And joining me, liaison Sean Ward, scout liaison of the Y-D Red Sox from Long Beach State, just documenting in the last half inning with Eric Valenzuela your time and your experience and his with Long Beach State.
Today is the Long Beach State takeover, Brad. This is the Long Beach State broadcast now. We'll leave.
The Y-D
you come.
Dirtbags.
Yes, I'm just taking it over. I'm sorry. This is my broadcast now.
And a fly ball to left field caught by Tyler Williams for out number 1. So Mann is retired for the 4th time today. And a 1 for 1 for 3, Nick Romero digs in from the left side. So at this point, Sean, Y-D up 11-2. It does seem like one of those games that has gotten out of hand. But what have you seen from the Red Sox, especially from Adam Meyer today as a pitch-first analytics guy? What did you see from him and his progression throughout the day?
We've done a lot of pitch design for Adam Meyer in his fastball. Adam came in with a fastball that he was cutting a bit, and it kind of made it flatten out. But over the course of the summer, we have worked a lot with Adam Meyer to be more on top of the baseball, more behind it, and to get himself spinning the ball in a more two-seam style of movement would be more seen as. So today, seeing his fastball move up to 25 inches horizontally out of his hand, that is very, very tough for a hitter to see. And that is why you saw a lot of ground balls today. It was a lot of sinkers, and right-handed hitters hate him. He had the 1 home run given up. It was left up a little bit, but besides that one mistake pitch, I am very happy with Adam Meyer today.
Yeah, it was actually a peculiar home run, too. It was off the bat of Joey Raphael, the catcher from Florida Southern, D2 player, who it's only his 2nd home run as a collegiate hitter, and he has 0 NCAA home runs. So I think a lot of people around the ballpark were surprised when that one was hit, and it was a missile.
He hit that ball straight in the air, and that ball hung up for a very long time. It hit the scoreboard coming down. It may have not gone up by much, but he got a lot of that baseball for it to go as high as it did.
And a pop-up off the bat of Kyle Ball, slicing out of play. Some defensive subs for Y-D. Tyler Williams out in center. Daniel Rivera playing right, and Pat Caulfield out in left field. Drew Bowser shifts over from first to third. Zach Liu playing short. Wyatt Huffman stays put at second base. And Cody Huff stays in the game with his 6 RBIs. He's not going anywhere. Cade Hunter came in to replace Dominic Keegan. He's behind the plate for Ryan Wiltsey. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs to Kyle Ball, the shortstop from Stetson.
Will and I talked last inning about Cody Huff and coming from this slower start to the year and hitting very well now. Another guy I want to highlight for that is Cade Hunter. Cade Hunter, he hit a ball 430 feet a few games ago, which is astronomical with a wood bat here especially. So going from starting the year pretty rough, and now he has a hit or 2 today, and he had his homer a couple games ago, and it's nice to see him figuring it out. I don't know what changes were made between him and Roberto, our hitting coach, but they figured something out, it seems like.
Well, Cade Hunter really coming on in a big way, and that's a guy who during the scrimmages preseason was looked at as maybe one of the best hitters on the team. Went 2 for 5 last week and had a single as a new player for Y-D. Big swing and a miss by Kyle Ball. He's now 1 for 4 on the day. A strikeout retires the side. Hyannis is sent down in order. It's stretch time from Red Wilson Field as the Red Sox lead 11-2.
this is me.
Back here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network, Y-D 11, Hyannis 2. In the bottom of the 7th inning, Pat Caulfield from UCLA leading off against Sal Fusco. And the righty for Hyannis deals, and a changeup inside. 1 ball, 1 strike to Caulfield. If you hear some weird mumbling in the background or rustling, that's my buddies, Jim and Casey from Jersey. How are you guys? It's awesome to have you.
Great to be here, Brian.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome to be here. This is like a throwback to the past.
The past, when we were broadcasting kind of sort of together in the PGCBL for the Amsterdam Mohawks, right? And a little throwback and a half, Sal Fusco, the pitcher, was there. Former PGCBLer, yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Makes me feel old.
2 balls, 1 strike, and Caulfield checked his swing.
Did he go?
Yes,
He
he did.
Oh my.
Do you want to do play-by-play, Jim?
I just want to do a John Sterling the pitch.
Okay.
The right-hander deal.
The right-hander deals.
So sometimes Will and I, we call them between-inning crutches, right? As the 2-2 here is grounded sharply over to second. Taylor gathers, bobbles, the throw is in time to get the speedy Caulfield for out number 1 in the bottom of the 7th, but Y-D holding on to that 11-2 lead. Call them mid-pitch crutches, right? So I think mine, Will, I think we could agree, mine would be kicks and deals, right? That's what I say. I don't say the pitch, right? And then never do that. But so Casey, Camille, Jim Torrey from Jersey here, and they're added to the broadcast in the bottom of the 7th. Top of the 8th, we'll have our team photographer on, so there's plenty to do and plenty to say on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Here's Cade Hunter, left-handed hitter from Virginia Tech, who's really struggled this year up until basically last week, and the single in relief of Dominic Keegan, a player who I know both of you were very excited to see from Vanderbilt. Taken out as a precautionary measure, but Hunter doing quite the job. 3 balls, no strikes.
Do you think he's got the green light, 3-0?
He's the hottest hitter on the team over the past week, but I don't know if he has that clout yet.
I mean, why not? It's 11-2.
It's 11-2. You may as well just swing away.
Oh, they've also changed the count to 2-1, the scoreboard operator deking you out. That's something that you're going to have to get used to at Red Wilson Field a lot. Yes, you have to pay attention, unlike how I was just now. Here's the 2-1. Outside, 3 balls, 1 strike now.
That's a hitter's count.
Hitter's count has got to be in their zone.
So Cade Hunter at the plate, and it's Chase Luttrell, my roommate, waiting on deck. As Hunter watches it, low, ball 4. And actually, Chase Luttrell's spot in the order, here's Tyler Williams, who came in as a defensive replacement from Arkansas Little Rock. And guys, Tyler Williams is an outfielder who has a lot of speed, defensive guy, outfielder for Y-D, but offensively, he's really struggled. So, and see if he can turn it on. Up by 9 in the bottom of the 7th. One of the last home games of the year for Y-D.
Well, Brad, I have a question for you. What do you think about Adam Meyer's performance today?
You know, it's funny because we've seen Adam Meyer for all of his starts, and the stuff is there, the spin rate is there. He's top 1% in the majors tomorrow by spin rate.
That's incredible.
As Tyler Williams waves at the changeup 0-2, way outside. No balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, runner on first, and Y-D up by 9 in the bottom of the 7th. And we know his stuff is really good, but the thing that was peculiar about Meyer was his inability to find the zone. That's typically now the problem. As Williams goes down swinging for out number 2. Tyler Williams hitting sub 111 right now. The strikeouts continue to be a problem for the Arkansas Little Rock outfielder. So here's Cody Huff, my other roommate. I have 3 roommates, Cody Huff, Chase Luttrell, and Eric Yost. And Huff has 6 RBIs on the day.
He's going for the hat trick right now.
I'm just letting you know, though, he has the RBIs. I told him that you guys were coming in, so he has a lot of pressure. There's a line drive. That one right to the center fielder, Clark Elliott. and that retires the side. Jim Torrey, Casey Camille on the broadcast. Maybe we get you guys in for another half inning, but that one was short-lived.
It was.
It was, and
I'd love to be back for another half inning.
That ball was smoked for his third hard hit ball of the day.
All right, we're going to try to squeeze Casey and Jim in the bottom of the 8th, but for now, it's a 9-run lead for Y-D heading to the top of the 8th, right here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network.
Hyannis, left fielder, number 28.
Back here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network, and the revolving door of really cool guests, it continues. 11-2 Y-D leads. Brad Klein with Virginia Breed, team photographer, who is right now not doing her job. That's okay, but someone's got to be taking pictures down there, right? Hannah.
Yes.
But Hannah doesn't know how to work your camera.
She does. She's used
She
it.
does?
Yeah, she's used it a few times.
Are you sure?
Yeah, she's taken some good pictures so far.
What are the odds those photos are in focus?
She's shown me some that have been in focus.
Only
so.
time will tell. Joe Moran from Taylor University is seeing his second appearance as a Y-D Red Sox, and Virginia on the broadcast for the first time all year. We said it was going to happen. It happened. Are you surprised?
Well, Hannah came down and was like, they want you in the booth, and I was like, they want me what now?
They want you in the booth now.
Yeah, and so I came up here, and then they were on, and I was like, what's happening?
But it's not your first time broadcasting,
No.
doing some broadcasts at LaSalle, so
Yes.
what's that like?
It's been fun. I've done some like sports that I've never even like played myself before. I had to do a basketball doubleheader on my own. That was very interesting because I was a freshman that time, and it was wild.
Playing some sports that you're either not good at or have never played before. You and me both, right? I mean,
Yeah. Well, I played basketball, but I had to do field hockey once. No clue what I was doing. I think I mentioned the wind more than anything.
Penalty corner. That's
Yeah.
important in field hockey.
You can read as much as you can about a sport, but actually seeing it in person and trying to understand what the research you did behind it, you're like, so that's what that means that I tried to understand.
Okay, so you played softball though, so
Yes.
baseball should basically be second nature as Hardigan falls behind 1 and 2. So why did it take so long to get you on the broadcast, and what do you hope to accomplish in this bottom half of the 7th?
It took me so long to get on the broadcast because I've been doing my job taking pictures.
That's a lame excuse, but all right. Or excuse me, top of the 8th.
Yeah, I was
don't
gonna
wanna-
say.
All right. So I messed up. But jump cut there with the Jersey boys back here throwing me off my equilibrium.
What are they
2 balls
throwing
and 2
things at
strikes to Hardigan. Yeah, I'm supposed to do my job when they're throwing things at me too. I don't know how that's gonna happen.
Chaos up here.
Chaos, yeah. Mitch Hardigan here from Florida Atlantic puts a jolt into this one, lifts it foul to the left side. So Virginia Bree, the team photographer, is just hanging out with us in the booth. 11-2 Y-D leads, and broadcaster for LaSalle.
Yeah, I'm the sports director for our TV program, LCTV.
Sports director
Yeah.
trying to flex on me up here. Chopper right side could be an easy play for Huff. He gets it and stomps on the pillow for out number 1 in the top of the 8th inning. So sports director, what does that entail?
So we have a sports show, Laser Sports Update, that we put out bi-weekly. So I'm in charge of editing and producing that, along with Taylor Viles, who is also a Cape Cod League intern. He's a senior writer, so that's pretty cool that we have 2 guys down here from LaSalle at least.
So what's the goal? I mean, you sports director, you're talking about shows, and yet you're down there, you know, in the sun, right, taking pictures. What are you trying to do? Are you focused more towards photography or maybe the rest of the communication sports realm?
Well, I've always wanted to be a sports broadcaster, but I've also always loved taking pictures. So when I had applied for both, and I got the
Hold on.
photographer, so-
Let me address the elephant in the room. Are you telling me that Will and I took your job?
No,
Okay.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you guys, by the time I applied, I think you guys had already gotten picked, and the photographer was one of the open spots.
Gotcha.
So I had applied for photography and saying if there's another broadcast spot open, I would love to get on. So, but I'm a photographer and I'm loving it. So I'm honestly looking to either do both now. So I would definitely want to do broadcasting, but photography is also definitely an option I'm looking into.
Trying to do both. See, I'm just looking to see if I can do either, right? And you're talking about doing both. So best of luck with that. I'm just trying to figure this out here. The PXP side of things. 1 ball, 2 strikes. By the way, to Trent Taylor, the second baseman, who is 1 for 2 on the day, had an infield single in the second, was hit by a pitch and scored a run in the 4th, and struck out looking in the 5th. Joe Moran from Taylor University on the bump for the second time as a Y-D Red Sox. And the cool thing about Virginia over here is that she spends most of the game, most of her days in the dugout. What's that experience like, seeing up close and personal, and maybe even some behind the scenes of what the Y-D Red Sox are all about?
It's been really cool getting to know all the players and kind of get more of a connection with them, and being able to see not just them on the field, but also more their personalities. And so that's been really cool. A lot of them are really
Okay,
nice
so
guys.
their personalities. All right, I'm
Yes,
just going to run through a couple of scenarios here.
Okay.
Okay. Who is the quickest to anger on the team?
It depends on what happens. If some of them you won't see get angry, and then all of a sudden they'll have a play happen that they'll be upset about.
Fine. Funniest on the team.
Ooh, Zach Jacobs is pretty funny.
Zach Jacob. Okay, hold on. Most serious on the team.
Dominic.
Okay, so Dominic Keegan's the most serious, Zach Jacobs the funniest. If Zach Jacobs dedicated himself, could he get Dominic Keegan to loosen up a little bit?
I mean, I have seen Dom loose. I just feel like he's so focused on he's focused on the game, and he knows what he's doing. And so I feel like he's so locked in that he's a great guy. He just is so locked in sometimes, and it's great to see.
Well, that's 3 outs, and in the middle of the 8th inning, it's time with a 9-run lead for Virginia over here to send us to break. So go ahead, send us over to break.
Okay. Y-D at the end of the top of the 8th, the Y-D up 11-2. Heading to the bottom of the 8th.
Brad Klein, Virginia Bree signing off. We'll be back in a moment with Y-D, like you said, up by 9.
Yeah.
Back here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network, Brad Klein and Casey, the real deal Camille. And it's just really fun to say that because I really haven't said that since high school. Former broadcast partners, Studio 462 on the call from Cape. And bottom of the 8th inning, Y-D with an 11-2 lead. The thing is, though, Casey, in high school, we split 50-50 play-by-play. And I've done all the play-by-play so far, so go ahead and take it away.
All right, thank you. I will.
Oh, hold on. Big out-of-town score update here. Harwich in the bottom of the 8th inning in Brewster down 5-4. One Harwich win or one Y-D loss eliminates the Red Sox from the postseason. It's a 1-1 count for the Stanford Cardinal, Drew Bowser. Here's your defensive lineup for Hyannis. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. And here's the 1-1. Fouled off, and it's 1-2 on a fastball. In an 11-2 game, 15 hits today for the Red Sox, an absolute offensive outburst as they try to keep their season alive. And here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, a strike 3. Bowser goes down on strikes.
Now Drew Bowser hit 302 for Stanford this past year as a true freshman, but it got off to a very slow start on the Cape, started to find his rhythm, but Sal Fusco has really become an elite pitcher for Hyannis. Now here's Daniel Rivera.
And here's the pitch. Foul to the left side. Will it go out of play? Yes, it will. 0-1 count.
So here's the thing, Casey, and you're doing play-by-play. I'm going to provide some analysis for you. Daniel Rivera, statistically speaking, the best hitter in the CCBL. Now, he has probably 5 at-bats, but he's coming from Southern New Hampshire. His OPS, no exaggeration, 2,500.
That is crazy.
It's unbelievable. Rivera 3 for 3 as a Y-D Red Sox and had a double and a run yesterday.
And here's the 1-1 low again. 2-1 to Rivera. As he's looking to stay perfect in his time here as a Red Sox.
Also has a couple of walks, so there's really nothing to dislike about Rivera. Is yet to be retired.
Wow. Outside strike called. High fastball, 2-2 count. Might have been a bit of a generous strike call there.
Now Daniel Rivera at 5'10", his listed height, so the strike zone pretty small. Second shortest player on the team.
Here's the 2-2 foul back. Rivera staying alive.
So Casey, this is your first time doing PXP on the Cape, and you're likely, maybe not likely, but there's a chance that you see the first time that Daniel Rivera is retired. What's that like?
Well, I'm not thinking that way yet because he's going to still remain perfect after this at-bat as he takes high for ball 3. Full count here with 1 out for Rivera, and he will stay perfect. That's my prediction. And here's the payoff pitch. Nope, ball 4. He is perfect. He draws the walk.
So what do I owe you? Is it dinner?
Sure, I'll take dinner.
Yeah.
Wouldn't mind that.
So 3 walks and 3 hits
Yep.
and no blemishes in any way, shape, or form for Daniel Rivera from Southern New Hampshire.
That's really how you break in. I mean, you can't ask for more than that.
So this is Zach Liu from Cal State Fullerton, who has spent most of his career at Cal State Fullerton above 300. Started as a Y-D Red Sox 0 for 14.
And he takes a breaking ball for strike 1.
Now, the one thing you have to know about Lou is that he might have the best glove in the league. He can pretty much play anywhere in the infield and really flash that leather, ranging to his left, ranging to his right.
And Cal State Fullerton, a really good college baseball program. In fact, he's hitting over 300 for them. Very impressive. And here's the 1-1. Fouls it out of play to the left, and it'll be 1-2 to Lou.
Now, it's just cool for me to have you guys in town and see some of these kids that I've been covering all year Wyatt Hoffman from the University of the Pacific is on deck. I can't wait to tell you guys more about him. But it's Zach Liu's turn right now.
And here's the 1-2 from Liu. Takes high for ball 2.
Now, what's it like with your last little taste of baseball broadcasting coming from the PGCBL to have a little full circle Sal Fusco reunion on the mound?
It's pretty interesting. And here's the 2-2 pitch coming. Fastball high, ball 3. And another full count here to Liu. Brad, I just got to say, this is just so fun doing this again with you. I mean, we haven't done this since high school. Well, I guess last year in Amsterdam we did this.
Well, here's the thing, though. You've had, I'll let you call this pitch first here.
And here's the pitch to Liu, and it plunks him as he'll go to first, and Rivera will head to second. And the Red Sox are looking for a little bit of a rally here.
Yeah, they need it. Up by 9. You gotta look out for that Hyannis comeback for sure. But my only issue is you can figure we've done this for about 8 years with plenty of gaps, right?
Sure.
And still, the best nickname that we have for me is B-Swish.
That's right. Brad B-Swish Klein.
The real deal Camille, and I'm B-Swish. Sounds like a MySpace username for an account I haven't used in 8 years.
And here's Hoffman singling on the first pitch to right center field. Rivera will come around and score. Liu will be held at second, and it's 12-2 Red Sox.
That's an A- at least, right? I mean, how about that? Breaking off the rust, if you can even call it that, because you've never done baseball play-by-play with the exception of a little scoop of PGCBL. So good job.
Thank you.
There. Casey, the real deal Camille. And I didn't even get a chance to tell you, Wyatt Hoffman, CCBL All-Star, spent most of the year above hitting 300 this year. Career 240 hitter at Pacific. Best collegiate summer league, over 300.
He really found a stroke as there was a fly out to center field for the second out.
He's also happens to be Trevor Hoffman's son.
Wow.
So
he's got some lineage in the family.
Yeah. And that's Crew Robinson, who lined out to center just then, and that's 2 away. Robinson was a JUCO All-American. He's transferring to UC San Diego. He hit a game-winning home run in his first start as a Y-D Red Sox. 3 days prior, he was playing in the Utah College League, 3 games a week just to stay in shape. And now he's in the CCBL, and every one of his hits have been for extra bases. 2 home runs and 2 doubles.
What a story that is. Wow, that's incredible. As first and second here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. Swing and a miss on the first pitch. Looks like he got a fool there on the breaking ball.
And this is Pat Caulfield from UCLA. Still looking for his first hit on the Cape.
And the 0-1 low for ball 1.
Yeah, Caulfield, a pretty recent addition with some injuries that Y-D has had and some departures due to some innings limits.
And it looks like this pitcher is really missing a lot high and outside. And that's really been the theme of this inning so far. And the Red Sox have been doing a pretty good job of taking their pitches, working the counts. And this been, I believe, 2 full counts this inning and another one that was 2-2. And here comes the 2-1 to Caulfield. And he fouls it away to down the third base line for a 2-2 count.
Yeah, Caulfield was actually put in a really big situation last night and still couldn't get his first hit, but Y-D coming up with a dub, and that's crucial right now because, like I mentioned, 1 Harwich win or 1 Y-D loss eliminates the Red Sox.
And here comes the 2-2. Swing and a miss. And even though he struck out, that was a pretty good at-bat from Caulfield, battling off a couple pitches, and that will be the inning. It is 12-2 at the end of 8. The Red Sox on top. And will there be another guest in the top of the 9th?
There's definitely going to be another guest. I have no idea who the guest will be, but I will say pretty good at-bat for Caulfield. Really good inning for Casey, the real deal Camille, right here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Back on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network, it's now or never for Hyannis right now. 12-2, the Red Sox lead in the top of the ninth inning. And joining me on the broadcast is Jim Torrey from the Dirty Jers. Jim, thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me, Brad. It's great to be here. Oh, another hit batter.
Joe Moran, the first pitch he throws in the ninth inning, a writhing fastball off the spleen of Caden Rose, and the DH has a first pitch free pass.
Not much you could do there. I mean,
No.
that ball was coming right for him.
So, Jim, let me ask you a question. This is the first time that we're broadcasting together with the exception of one cup of coffee in the PGCBL since high school, right?
Right.
And typically when we are on a broadcast, you are the best baseball player in the room. But there is a D2 former baseball player in the room. He's leaving right now, and he's gone.
So now I'm the best.
So now you're the best. But how did it feel for that one fleeting moment to not be the best?
It felt different, but that's okay.
Emasculating?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, but that's okay. You can't be the best at everything.
You can't be the best at everything. Now here's Clark Elliott, who's pretty good at hitting. If he has to pick one thing to be the best at, right now has the best average in the CCBL.
Well, they're going to need to string some hits together.
First pitch fastball low to Elliott, and struck out swinging both times in his first two at-bats, walked in the fourth. Center fielder from Michigan.
Ever been to Michigan?
Yes, I almost went to Michigan State.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
2 balls and no strikes. So I ask you, you say that Hyannis has to string some hits together. Thank you for stating the obvious. What else do the Harbor Hawks have to do to climb their way out of this 10-run deficit?
Besides getting hits.
yeah, that we know.
That would be hard, though. I mean, like, they need to get some hits together. So besides getting hits, what do they have to
Draw
do?
some walks, I guess.
I guess draw
right?
some walk, get lucky. I mean,
Clark Elliott fouled down the left field line, 2-1. Get lucky. That's the analysis.
well, I mean, besides getting hits, what do they have to do? Because they're going to have to get some hits together.
Sure.
Maybe draw some walks, work some long counts. 10 runs. Wasn't it that Yankee game a long time ago? The Yankees weren't they down like 9 runs?
Look, in this day and age of Yankee baseball, you're going to have to be
anything's
more
possible.
specific.
Against the Red Sox, they I think like what 8 years ago they were down 9-0 and they came back and won. So it's possible.
Now Moran knots up the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes after 2 consecutive foul balls from Clark Elliott, who, by the way, Jim, didn't play a lick of baseball in the CCBL in June. Just came in July and completely turned the page for Hyannis. And it got to the point where they were buried in the standings way too far. I mean, historically speaking, one of the worst teams in the CCBL ever. as Clark Elliott lifts one to shallow center field. Tyler Williams charging in, and he's waved off by the second baseman Huffman for out number 1. So a hit by pitch and a pop out puts a runner on first, 1 out for Dominic Johnson, the right fielder from Oklahoma State. And by the way, Harwich down by 4 in the top of the 9th inning. So the Red Sox are 2 outs away from keeping themselves alive, and Harwich on the brink of losing. The Mariners have to lose out. The Red Sox have to win out to get to the CCBL playoffs. So it would be the first time since 2009, or rather 2008, that Y-D missed the postseason. And Jim Torrey's first time being to a Cape Cod baseball game in about a decade. Is that right?
Yeah, we would used to go up and see Chatham play.
Now we're just going to pretend that doesn't hurt our feelings here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. Fly ball right field, and Rivera makes the catch for the second out.
Isn't Chatham one of the better teams?
Well, okay.
Are they one of the better teams?
This year? No.
This year?
No. They are in last
Historically,
place
have
in the
they been
East.
one of the better teams?
It's hard to say historically because you redraft your team every year, but well, the Red Sox have had probably the most success in the Eastern Division, at least the last decade or so, so it's hard to say.
I remember it was a lot of fun to go to those games as a little kid. It's a nice family environment.
Yeah, family environment. Veterans Field, widely regarded as the best ballpark outside of the Red, of course, in the CCBL. But I will say, you're a Red Sox fan, and Y-D, former team of Chris Sale.
I saw, actually, at the snack bar, they have a sandwich named after him.
Oh, do they?
They do.
Did you get it?
No.
Why?
A lot of reasons. Won't go into them.
We ate before.
We did eat before. Wasn't super hungry. Wasn't looking for like a full meal.
Okay. I respect that. Luke Mann, the third baseman, grounds it sharply over to Hoffman. He picks it out of the dirt and flips it over to second in time. And that'll do it. Y-D trounces Hyannis 12-2 to stay alive in pursuit of a CCBL playoff berth. Harwich doing their part, down 8-4 in the 9th inning. So assuming Brewster can hold on, Y-D still treading water. Again, the Red Sox have to win out. The Mariners have to lose out. But so far so good, at least for today. The Red Sox doing what they have to do, 12-2, 16 hits for the Red Sox, 4 runs in the first, and that's really what set the tone. Cody Huff, though, 6 RBIs and 2 long balls.
Incredible game. I mean, they were in complete control of the game from the first pitch, Brad. First inning, boom, get up 4-0, game over.
And newsflash for you, you may or may not know, because we did some game prep and you did not. No. The pitcher, the starter for Hyannis, that was scraped up a little bit, that's an all-star. That Y-D.
Yeah, I like his stuff. He threw hard.
So
he just, I think the biggest problem with him is he wasn't getting ahead early. So they knew they were sitting on fastball, 3-1, 3-0. I mean, I think for him, next steps for him is just working on that off-speed stuff, getting that over. Because if he can locate his changeup, it's going to be very tough.
Well, maybe not the biggest concern for Hyannis right now. 7 wins, last place in the CCBL. So their season is all but done. From a playoff standpoint, the development continues on the Cape Cod League as Y-D envelops the Harbor Hawks 12-2 at the end of the broadcast right here on the Y-D Red Sox Baseball Network. And the game has gone final in Brewster, 8-4 the Whitecaps win. So we will be back with you tomorrow. The Harbor Hawks have a chance at redemption. Tomorrow night, it's on their home field as Y-D heads across the Cape to face Hyannis in a road matchup. For Jim Torrey and Casey Camille and Will Connerly and Virginia Bree, Sean Ward, everyone under the sun that was on the broadcast, we'd like to thank you for joining us from the start to the finish. So long from Red Wilson Field.